set for the opening bounce down from umpire Montgomery.
And young Richard McCulloch playing his first grand final, playing at left half back on Keith Miller.
Montgomery is checking out with the captains of both sides. There's the siren. Here's the bounce down. There's the bounce of the 1969 grand final as they try to force it out of the centre circle. There's a scrum on in there and umpire Montgomery pushes them off the board and will bounce it down again a few yards from the centre circle. Thompson out on the half-forward flank. Malcolm Brown at centre-half forward. Up go the ruckman again. It's taken by Baker. Forced a handball away. Polly Farmer gets it over very quickly to Watling. Up to the half-forward line. Marked in defence by Ken McCauley. Playing at centre-half back for the East Perth side. McCauley gets the ball up towards the wing position. O'Donoghue going up to meet it. Tackled by Watling and tossed to the deck. Watling handballs on quickly over to Craig Baker. Baker on the half-forward line. Shoots the ball to centre-half forward. Almost picked up by Jimmy Haynes. Rintoul trying to force the ball out. Keith Miller trying to burst his way through. Gets it over to Bill Valley, but the whistle has sounded in the meantime from umpire Montgomery, and the kick is going West Perth's way to be taken by Keith Miller on the half-forward line.
Well, there's a surprise move, Mel. Derek Chadwick playing left half forward.
Yes, quite a good move. I feel Chaddy could be...
There's a beautiful pass, Mel, into the hands of Laurie Richards from the boot of Keith Miller. The full forward led, and Richards in possession of the ball.
Certainly an outstanding player, this boy. He can really get into the air.
Well, Laurie Richards with a great opportunity to bring up an opening score for the West Perth side. He's about 25 yards out from the goals. Almost directly in front. It's on its way. It's offline from, says the goal umpire. One hand only goes up, and first blood on the board to West Perth.
A very nervous kick there, Mel, from the first kick of Laurie Richards.
Yeah, to be a lot of pressure on him at this particular stage. Bob, he wouldn't have settled down just yet.
Kick into play, comes quickly. Watling takes the ball well. Plays on quickly, gets the pass over, and he finds Craig Baker at centre-half forward to the centre-half forward position, and West Perth with an opportunity to kick for the big ones again.
Bob, I don't think that Derek Chadwick's going to stay on this half-forward line very long, but that time Watling, he's a very good player. I think he'll be a little bit too good for Mark O'Donoghue.
There's the kick from Baker. This one's offline once again. It's through for another behind. 2 points on the board to West Perth. East Perth have yet to score. Plenty of movement around the ground as the kick into play goes to the far side of the oval. Over the head of John Wynn, and the mark is picked up by Ken McCauley. McCauley puts the ball out to the wing. Evans is out there, and he takes the mark safely at right centre wing for East Perth. East Perth going into attack now for the first time in the game. Evans putting the ball up over the half-forward line. A big pack in the air. West Perth claiming the mark behind the pack, and it has been awarded.
Neil Evans.
Neil Evans holding up that attack at left half-back. There's his drop kick, putting the ball back towards the centre of the ground once again. Hips and shoulders going in solidly. Bradley Smith trying to force the ball out for East Perth. He's on top of it. The pack on top of him, and umpire Montgomery will bounce down again.
There's a ruck setting themselves there. Dempsey coming in with Bradley Smith. Half-forward line now for West Perth. A scramble of players out there. East Perth trying to break away, finally do throw through Verstegen. Not a good kick towards a half-back line, and relieved there by John Hill. A good kick from Hill up towards a half-forward line. Chance here for West Perth, Bill Valley. Over towards Stephen Smith. There's a long high torpedo kick towards the ball forward. It's offline, unfortunately, for the Cardinals, and through for their third point in a row. Well, costly mistakes, Mel, at this early stage.
Yes, a bad misses. I thought that was a beautiful kick and looked like it would go through the centre, but a little bit offline.
There's a quick kick in, going the way of Mark O'Donoghue. Back towards the flank, towards McCauley. Still in play there, very close to the line, and finally out of play there, right half-forward flank for West Perth. Norm Nell on the ball, opposed to Philip Horn. Interference at the ruck throw-in, and the kick going the way of West Perth, Norm Nell.
Very doubtful decision, that one, Bob. I thought it should have gone the other way.
Norm Nell, right half forward, a drop kick in towards full forward. Richards high in the air, but it's thumped away from him. Chance for Smith, screws it over the back of his back, and once again it's through for another point. Well, 4 points straight now to West Perth. Stephen Smith had the last 2 shots.
Had a hard knock then. He's limping fairly badly, but should get over it.
There's Stephen Smith limping away from that skirmish. as Bill Matson takes the kick into play towards the grandstand flank. This is a better kick. And Bill Dempsey, the long arms of Bill Dempsey, as you saw, coming from the side there to take an excellent mark. He got a great pair of hands, this fellow. West Perth into attack in this first quarter. Dempsey kicks towards full forward. East Perth trying to mark there, but it's socked away, and once again the ball's gone out of play. Well, West Perth taking initiative from the first bounce, forcing the ball into their forward line. Bradley Smith on the ball there, number 20. Graham Farmer, number 1. Philip Horn, number 8. Farmer from the back. Gives it to Keith Miller, screws it in towards full forward. There's a good left foot snap from the boot of Keith Miller to put the first major on the board for West Perth.
Beautiful play there, Bob. Saw Graham Farmer take it out of the pack, use his body well, pass it out to young Miller, who took a beautiful left foot pass straight through the centre.
West Perth now go to 1-4. East Perth yet to score. And still nothing in the breeze, Mel.
Not a great deal, no. It's going straight across the ground.
Back with umpire Montgomery. Whittam takes the kick out towards the flank. McKeljic there, battling with Miller. Down towards Mark O'Donoghue, left centre wing. Pushed as he kicked the ball, and the penalty kick to be taken by Derek Chadwick on the left half forward flank. Kicks it in towards Bradley Smith, and he takes the mark. 6-minute mark in the first quarter.
Now the Royals with an opportunity to kick for the big ones. Bradley Smith in possession of the ball, forward of the half-forward line, directly in front of the goals. There's a beautiful drop kick from Bradley Smith, and he's steered it right through the middle, and first goal on the board of the Royals.
We don't see many good drop kick goals, Mel. That was a beauty.
That was definitely a great goal from Bradley Smith, and one of these Perth will certainly need it at this stage, I feel, with the West Perth attacking for the first 5 minutes of the quarter.
West Perth almost continually in attack in the opening minutes, as Mel said. They've brought up 1-4. East Perth have made one sortie into their forward line and have got a goal on the board. Bounce down from umpire Montgomery. And the ball goes to O'Donoghue. Onto the boot quickly, coming up to the half-forward line. Chadwick knocks the ball in front. Down comes Pleitner. He's claimed. Corliff trying to burst his way out on the half-back line, has grabbed around the neck and will take the kick in the centre half-back position for West Perth.
East Perth are changing Bradley Smith and Malcolm Brown at centre half forward.
Keith Miller almost taking a good mark over the top of Ken McCorday, and players scrum on top of it again, and the ball will be bounced down. Another bit of pushing and shoving going on, nothing very serious. Umpire Montgomery having a word to a couple, and he's awarding the kick to John Wynn. John Wynn to take this kick just a little forward of the centre line, goes for the drop kick, the ball sailing up the full forward. Richards coming out into the air, and a beautiful mark again. Laurie Richards soared into the air. Tremendous spring this
was the last one, Brian.
A great spring, and he got into the air to pull down a nice mark. Let's see what he can do with the kick. The ball on its way. Once again, it's offline and possibly misses, Mel.
Definitely are. I think Laurie's a much better kick, and he has been shown up to date.
That was a great capture by our cameraman, Brian. They've captured some great shots during the year.
Yes, Bob, they're in the centre of the action for sure. There's no two ways about that. Matson bringing the ball into play, and they come straight up the centre of the ground. This time East Perth into the air they saw, knocked to the ground. Verstigan almost going through with the ball. Out now to Malcolm Brown, hurriedly onto the boot, landing up in the centre of the oval. There's the mark going the way of Norm Nell right in the centre. Nell plays on quickly. It's all West Perth on that side of the ground as the mark is taken by Mel Winnan. Winnan goes with a long drop kick. It's a beauty too, soaring right up into the full forward zone over the head of Laurie Richards and through again for one behind.
Mel Winnan, the only player in the West Perth side who played in the last premiership of 1960.
1 goal, 6 on the board to West Perth. East Perth showing one solitary goal. The kick in from Matson again. Puts the ball to the half-back line. Rintoul coming in to pick up the crumbs, but he's pushed aside. The whistle sounding, and he'll take the kick out on the half-back flank for East Perth.
Don Rintoul, the ex-Kalgoorlie boy, kicking towards the centre of the ground. Norm Nell high in there, taken by Winnan. Mel Winnan, left centre wing. Boots it out towards the flank towards Valley, and it's gone out of play. 1 goal, 6, 12 points West Perth. East Perth, 1 goal.
Young Valley been a little bit quiet today, Bob. Haven't seen very much of him in the opening minutes.
Malcolm Brown swings it over towards the back of the pack, but it's picked up by Stephen Smith. There's a long punt kick towards full forward. There's Richards high in the air again, but he can't mark this one. And Jim Haynes pushes the ball out of play, right full back. Young Bill Matson playing in his first grand final, certainly having his hands full up there with Laurie Richards. Mel Brown on the ball now for East Perth. A skirmish there, left full forward pocket. And there's another kick given close to goals by umpire Montgomery, this time going to Bill Valley.
Definite correct decision there, Bob. I thought that the player jumped straight in the back of Valley, and a very foolish mistake on the East Perth part.
Bill Valley, the West Perth Rover. 20 yards out from goals, left full forward pocket. The drop punt on its way, it's through, and the second goal on the board to West Perth.
Yep. I just said a moment ago we haven't seen very much of Valley, and he slipped in and kicked a beautiful goal there, and one that West Perth badly needed.
To bring West Perth now to 2 goals, 6, 18 points. East Perth, 1 goal, 6 points. Thompson now having a run on the ball, number 28 for East Perth. East Perth still interchanging these half forwards. Over towards Bygraves. Bygraves trying to get the ball away, but it goes to Willen. He's got the call over Gillespie at the moment. Up towards the half forward line. And Jim Haynes, eyes on the ball all the way. Brings that one down at half back. Jim Haynes, a high kick out towards the left centre wing. Thompson in front, and a good mark there to Ian Thompson. Oh, Thompson, a wobbly old kick towards the half forward line. Bounce eludes players, through comes Greg Asprey, coming straight through and kicks the ball out of play, right centre wing. Well, Greg Asprey got a hard job today, playing on Bradley Smith and Malcolm Brown. Alternating there in the ruck at centre half forward. There's a good knock there going the way of East Perth, but it's picked up by Thompson. Finally gets his kick towards the half forward line. And he hands on the ball there, and Tony Dragon coming in from the back brings that one down. West Perth defending well at the moment. Tony Dragon driving the ball up towards the centre wing. Bolly Farmer in there, but he can't mark it. Towards the flank, John Wynn. There's a high kick from Wynn, and also out of play, right half forward for West Perth. Well, no fireworks to date in this opening quarter. Many moves made by both sides. A 12-minute mark.
Throw-in coming on the right half forward flank position now for the West Perth side. Down to Ken McCauley. Corley turns to the boundary and gets the ball up towards the centre wing position under the chest of Mark O'Donoghue. Donoghue with the strapping on the left wrist puts the ball up towards the half forward line. Asprey and Brown. Smith dueling.
Strong player there, Brian. Held his ground.
Uses his body well, Bob. Plays on quickly over to Malcolm Brown, and there's the ball going to the Sandover medalist, marking at centre half forward.
Brown should be able to kick this one from there, Bob, without any worries.
Bradley Smith kicked a beauty. The kick's not a good one from Mel Brown, and the mark is taken by West Perth just outside the 10-yard square. John Hill, the player to take the kick. Hill kicks to the far side of the ground, to the half-back flank position. Evans got his hands on the ball, couldn't take the mark. In goes Graham Farmer. Brushes aside Evans. Left centre wing, gets the ball up to the half-forward line. After it goes Valley, with him is Bob Graham of East Perth. Graham with the ball in front of him. Wins the day, he gets the hand pass over to Wintle. They take the ball over the line to be thrown into play again out on the left half-forward flank position for West Perth. Bradley Smith and Norm Nell opposed. Down to East Perth. They get the ball up towards the half-back line. Pleitner takes it. He's claimed by Evans. Forced a handball out of play. Another throw in to come at left half-forward. 2-6 on the board to West Perth, leading East Perth 1 goal. Norm Nell in front again. Regathers the ball himself. Shoots it over. Picked up by John Wynn. Hand pass goes over to Stephen Smith. Smith onto the boot, sending the ball up towards the full forward pocket. And Laurie Richards again. A magnificent mark. Flat of the foot, flat in the back of Bill Matson, and brought down a beauty.
Yes, he certainly had to sit on Matson there, and he was up a terrific height to bring that one down. Beautiful pair of hands, this fellow, but his kicking hasn't matched his marking to date.
He's missed a couple of shots from in front, Bob. He's on a very acute angle. Maybe he'll put this one through. Wouldn't be too much daylight. Here's the West Perth full forward to take the shot. Across the face of the goals it goes, and it's through for 1 behind. And the West Perth tally goes to a disappointing 1-7, 2-7.
Ryan, that would have been the mark of the day today. There was a real grip of that one, right up over the top of the young East Perth fullback, and brought down what should have been a certain goal, but not kicking very well at the moment.
Matson again, the kick into play. Comes out towards the grandstand flank this time. Players battling in the back, signals the umpire, and the kick is going the way of Alan Watling of West Perth. Both players were using their body and trying to gain position. O'Donoghue got in the back of Watling and he puts the ball up towards full forward. Richards coming out again into the air, and again he falls down the mark. Richards is leading and marking magnificently, but having a lot of trouble with the kicking, and here he is directly in front of the goals. Polly Farmer having a word to him as he goes back to take this kick. Goes for the drop kick this time. It's a good drop kick too, on its way through the
I think Polly Farmer would have told him to kick that drop kick then, Bob, the way he went up alongside him and just settled him down.
Richards taking, there's the scoreboard, 3 goals, 7 to West Perth, 1 goal to East Perth. Richards is taking the last 3 marks behind, but that one he came well out in front. And there's Bob Graham up there having a word with Bill Matson to play Richards a little bit closer, but he's certainly got his hands full. Farmer bring the ball away, gives it to Valley, must be holding the ball, and the kick going the way of East Perth. Gary Gillespie to take it right in the centre of the ground. East Perth not kicking well at the moment. There goes the kick towards the flank. On towards Bygraves. Bygraves about 50 yards out. The torpedo punt kick drifting in towards goal. Kicked the most. And luckily for East Perth there, a good passage of play to bring that one down. And you saw it hit the post.
Deserved a better result, I thought, Bob, than that.
Yes, they got it away well from the centre. David Dyson to kick the ball into play towards the grandstand flank. Bradley Smith, Bill Dempsey, Farmer in front, and Farmer, beautiful leap at the right second there to bring that one down. Farmer, good drop kick, well up towards centre half forward, and there's John Wynn. Ken McCauley fell over, and John Wynn takes the mark. And there's the East Perth runner, Neil Bailey, going on the ground with a few instructions from Jack Sheedy. Wynn's kicks a high one, looking for Richards. There's Richards high in there again, and he's got it. Larry Richards, phenomenal marking in this quarter. He's only about 15 yards out, practically in front of the West Perth goal. Let's see what he can do with this one. A camera right over his shoulder as he goes in to have this shot. All eyes on the West Perth full forward, and he's missed it. Swung away there at the last second, and once again a costly miss for West Perth. Richards, I think, has kicked 4 points in this quarter.
1 goal for Bob. I feel that probably must be causing Jack City some concern at this stage. Richards playing so well.
Bill Matson kicking into play this time towards McCauley and Wynn in front. Playing in front of Ken McCauley that time to bring the ball down. Well, West Perth players have got the front position in this quarter and certainly paying dividends. John Wynn about 50 yards out, left half forward flank. And he's put it out of play in that left full forward pocket.
It's quite noticeable that John Wynn is now using his right foot to kick the last 2 drop kicks over quite some distance.
Yes, one of the few times we've seen him kick drop kicks, and there's another kick from the throw-in going the way of Jim Haynes.
That'd have to be a very famous right foot of John's.
There's a kick out towards the flanks. Bill Dempsey, West Perth winning in the air at the moment, and Bill Dempsey takes that mark between left centre wing and left half forward. Looking for Norm Nell, and Norm Nell taking the mark 40 yards out directly in front. Well, West Perth certainly controlling the air, Mel.
Definitely in front here at the stage. Jimmy Haynes was 2.5 yards behind Norm Nell at that stage, and no hope in the world of spoiling him.
Here's the kick from the West Perth ruckman. Again, it's swinging well away to the right-hand side, and another point goes on the board at the 18-minute mark of the first quarter. You're watching football on 7, going to Goldsworthy, Albany and Bunbury, the first quarter of the 1969 Grand Final.
West Perth kicking better, Mel. It looks as though they could perhaps have the advantage of a slight breeze.
I think it could just be favouring that end of the ground at this stage.
Here's the kick in. The chest mark is dropped by Watling, but regathers the ball, kicks back into the full forward pocket position. Jimmy Haynes backing up, can't get hold of it either, and it's out of play in the right full forward pocket. Bradley Smith and Norm Nell, Jimmy Haynes there too for the boundary throw in. Swooped on by Stephen Smith right across on the right half forward flank. He screws the ball back and puts it out of play once again.
Stephen Smith must have an open ticket today to run in the forward line. He's everywhere across that half forward line.
Play congregated in the right full forward pocket. Opportunity by Graves to bring it away. Up towards the centre wing position it goes. Brought down nicely by Watling. Watling kicks back again to that full forward pocket over the head of Keith Miller. Haynes coming across again, carries the ball out of play.
O'Donoghue having a little bit of trouble with Watling at the moment, Mel.
Yes, this young Watling, Alan Watling, is a real top-class player, and Mark a good player, but I feel that could be a little bit overshaded at the moment.
Once again, Bygrave sweeping the ball away from the boundary throw-in. Kicks up over the centre line, dropping back. Malcolm Brown, eyes on the ball all the way, and he brings down the mark for East Perth, just a little forward of the centre line. Whittle breaking from the full forward pocket. Teeny leading two. In the way is Bill Dempsey, and Dempsey clamps his hands on the ball and pulls down the mark once again.
Well, he's a pass master, setting himself across that back line and playing the loose man.
Teeny came out with the break on Dyson, but ran straight into Dempsey. Dempsey's kick sailing up to the centre wing position. Now one can bring down the mark. Wynn trying to burst his way through. Hips and shoulders going in suddenly as O'Donoghue threw himself into the pack, but Wynn comes out with the ball, kicks to half forward, and Norm Nell takes the mark. Stephen Smith is on his own, out on the half forward line. Umpire Montgomery coming down the ground, and he is awarding the kick to Bill Valley. Interference.
Umpire Montgomery there, Brian, right on the ball. Bobby Graham giving young the Rover a slight nudge.
Kick from Valley, puts the ball right into the goal square, and as Bob said a moment ago, West Perth dominant in the air. And there once again, the mark is pulled down by Norm Nell right in the 10-yard square. This one they certainly shouldn't miss.
Well, nobody competed with him that time.
No, I thought that the full forward did the right thing. He stayed down and allowed the forward pocket ruckman to come over the top.
And there's another goal on the board to West Perth to make them 4 goals 9 now to East Perth 1-1, and certainly a handy lead at this stage. And Norm Nell certainly playing well in that forward line. Playing his part at the ruck bounces. There you can see the scores with West Perth with a good advantage. And the Breeze not playing a very prominent part at the moment. Bradley Smith and Mel Brown, a hard job changing from the ball to centre half forward, Mel.
I feel it's asking too much of these players. There's a long way to go, 3/4 of football to go, and to be starting at this stage and changing centre half forward is probably one of the toughest jobs in the business.
Neil Evans come on the ball now for West Perth, opposed to Philip Horn. West Perth continually getting the ball away from the centre bounce downs, and there's the front position again, paying off all the time. John Wynn helped himself a little bit forward, but also good tactics to be in front, and he's paid the kick.
It's quite evident as we've spoken, West Perth are holding front position all the time, taking control of the air, and at this stage look a far superior side to the East Perth team.
There's Bill Valley kicking in towards the goals, but marked there by Bob Graham, right fullback. Graham kicking out towards a half-back flank. All West Perth out there, but dropped by Evans. Over to Pleitner, but it's smothered by Verstegen. Mel Winnan. Winnan weaving his way out of that pack, as you saw. Kicks it up towards the half-forward line. Bill Valley setting himself, and he's been paid the mark. Well, many West Perth players allowed to fly unattended in this first quarter, while our East Perth counterparts are standing down.
Bob, East Perth a little bit rattled at this stage, don't you feel? They don't seem to be picking up their men as quick as they should do.
Now, they've got no flow in their game at the moment, Mel, as Bill Valley coming in, driving towards full forward. Jim Haynes thumping it away, but it's still in the left full forward pocket. Mel Brown. Brown gets his foot to the ball quickly, puts it out towards the flank, and the ball's gone out of play.
Chetty going into the centre. I think Gillespie onto the wing, O'Donoghue onto the half-forward flank.
Free kick here to East Perth, Brian.
And Hans Verstegen paid that free kick. There's Gillespie changing once again. He's gone under the wing there to oppose Alan Watling as Verstegen kicks down towards a half-back flank. Pleitner coming through. Pleitner gets his foot to the ball, up towards full forward. Jim Haynes in front this time. Through comes Graham, bursting his way through the pack. Ran about 15 yards. And kicks towards the centre. O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue gets his foot to the ball towards the half-forward line. Dyson in front of Teeny. And Dyson picks it up well to clear for West Perth. Gillespie here battling with 3 or 4 West Perth players, and he's come out with the ball. Gillespie still battling there unattended, must get the kick. Well done, Gary Gillespie. Battle there against 3 West Perth opponents. A Tigerish player, this fellow. He's not kicking well at the moment and gets it down towards Bradley Smith, who takes the mark. Certainly a strong player, this Bradley Smith. 6'4", 14 stone 10. Driving towards a half-forward line. David Whittle, but he can't mark it. Evans. John Hill. And West Perth get out of trouble once again. Up towards Stephen Smith. He flew one-handed, but the kick's going the way there of East Perth. Interference to Bob Graham.
Derek Chadwick back in the centre again, Bob.
Yes, many changes tried by Jack Sheedy. A poor old kick from Graham. Gets past Baker. Well picked up by Norm Nell, gives it back to Baker, who drives towards the half-forward line. Missed there by Jim Haynes. Mistakes by both sides. Bill Valley about 40 yards out from goal. Can't get his foot to it. Stephen Smith. Smith couldn't kick left foot. In towards Richards once again, but stumped away this time by Matson. Picked up by Jim Haynes, and he kicks towards the far side of the ground where it's gone out of play. Matson going for the punch this time, apparently being told by Sheedy to thump that ball away from Richards. And that's the way it went. The throw in, left half forward flank for West Perth. Malcolm Brown opposed to Neil Evans. Brown gets the thump. Bygraves up towards the left centre wing. Thompson. Ian Thompson, a poor old kick. Missed there by Asprey. A chance for Bradley Smith. To Philip Horn. Philip Horn very slow to get rid of it. Had ample opportunity there. And umpire Montgomery lets the game go on as Farmer takes the mark in the centre 25 minutes into the first quarter.
Farmer puts the ball up to the half-forward line. Keith Miller gathering it there at right half-forward. Gets the hand pass to Watling, screaming down from the wing. Watling pulled off the kick by Gillespie. It's sailing towards the big ones. Bounces across.
Well, a little bit of luck goes a long way in football, Mel.
No doubt about that, Bob. An excellent goal there for young Watling. Backed up young Miller on the half-forward line. And the result, as we all saw, was a goal for the West Perth side. Thought Graham Farmer did the right thing. He played on. He didn't hesitate at all. Umpire Montgomery said play on, and away he went, and this was the result.
5 goals, 9 on the board now to West Perth. 5-9, 39, leading East Perth 1 goal, 1, 7 points. Back with umpire Montgomery, and East Perth in trouble in the first quarter. Up go the ruckman at centre again. Once again, West Perth bringing the ball away from the centre of the oval. Pleitner takes it for the Cardinals, and a long kick sending it up towards the edge of the goal square. Richards from behind, can't pull down the mark this time. Picked up by Valley though as he takes the crumbs in the right full forward pocket and fires the ball out of play in that full forward pocket position.
Well, the breaks are not coming off for East Perth the same as they did last week, Mel.
No, there's no doubt about that. I thought that at that stage then, West Perth should have capitalised on that. There were 3 West Perth players in the forward pocket to 1 East Perth. Could have been a different result.
Down to McKelchik from the boundary throw in. Can't gain much distance with his kick, and the ball out of play once again in that right full forward pocket for West Perth. Malcolm Brown, Norm Nell, Jim Haynes. Down into the pocket, up to Watling on the half-back line, doing battle with Gillespie. Gillespie doubles back and manages to get the ball off the ground. Evans coming across to meet it for West Perth. Evans takes the ball with plenty of time, sends it back to the centre half-forward position, and nipping in goes Winham to take the ball. 27 minutes into the first quarter. Winham with a beautiful long drop kick. Plenty of distance, direction offline, and it's through for another behind.
West Perth winning on the ball and across the centre, Mel, at this stage.
Yes, definitely on top in the centre of the ground. Winham's having a real good day, and would be on top across the centre and definitely on the ball.
Well, 40 points to 7 on the board right now. The kick into play again to the half-back line. Big pack in the air. It comes behind them. Gillespie in the front berth in front of Watling this time, having trouble gathering it. Manages to get it off the ground over towards Malcolm Brown. Farmer there with him. Brown can't get out of the pack. Chadwick trying to come out. He's grabbed around the neck, Malcolm Brown, and will take the kick almost on the centre wing position for the Royals. The kick from Brown's not a good one. Up to the half-forward line. Eludes several players. Picked up by O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue from the half-forward line with a drop kick landing in the goal square. Into the air they go. Opportunity to burst again. 1 yard out under the bleed, and he's put it through. And that's the second goal to East Perth.
Read the game well there, Mel.
Yes, Persican stayed down, read the packs. Both West Perth men in the air allowed him to snap an easy, what was an easy goal.
Good play there by Hans Verstegen. 5 goals, 10 West Perth, 2 goals, 1 East Perth. And the East Perth runner certainly working overtime with messages carried out there by Jack Sheedy.
Neither side's rovers to date have been very prominent, Bob.
Back with umpire Montgomery. Philip Horn opposed to Bill Dempsey. Shepherding in the ruck, says umpire Montgomery, and Graham Farmer to take the kick right in the centre of the ground. East Perth certainly getting the breaks in this first quarter. There's the mark going away. It's interference out there to Craig Baker before that mark was taken, and Baker to take it left half forward flank. Craig Baker, the West Perth rover. Floating punt kick towards the square. There's Norm Nell setting himself. Well, he brought that one down. Richards gives it out to Smith. Smith, a snapshot. And he's put it through once again for the 6th goal of the Cardinals. Good thinking there by the West Perth forwards.
Some real good teamwork on the behalf of the West Perth players then. Unselfish play by the full forward, passed it out to the young Smith on the half-forward flank, and he put it through the centre with a real good goal.
Stephen Smith's goal, as you see there, 6 goals 10 to 2 goals 1 in favour of West Perth, and the 6 goals by West Perth have all been kicked by individual players. Bradley Smith back on the ball. Bill Dempsey or Farmer getting that ball away continuously there from the centre bounce down. Bradley Smith. Watling Gillespie on the flank. Alan Watling in front. Well picked up by Watling. Kicks it in towards centre half forward. John Wynn runs straight into Bradley Smith. Too high, says umpire Montgomery. And John Wynn to take the kick on the half forward. The 30-minute mark as John Wynn taking his time there to come back. Will he kick right or left foot? As you heard Mel say, he's used his right foot today for the first time in many, many months. Yes, a right footer. A drop kick towards full forward. Hands Verstegen. Verstegen out towards Smith. Smith's running on his own there on that half-forward flank. Rental yards away from him. Dodges around Evans, gets his foot to the ball. Floating offline and through once again for the minor score. Well, Smith certainly getting a lot of latitude out there, Mel.
Definitely getting a lot of latitude, too much latitude. I feel that had the West Perth side kicked straight, it would all be over, Bob. They're that far in front everywhere around the ground.
A better kick this time from Bill Matson out towards the half-back flank. Too many West Perth players out there. Once again, Smith having a shot. And once again, he's offline and through for the minor score. Well, 12 points. 6 goals, 12 on the board to West Perth. Certainly bad kicking in the forward line. Admittedly under pressure on many occasions. But many of those points should have been goals. Bill Matson. 31 minutes into the first quarter.
Matson puts the ball out to the centre half-back position, and the mark is taken out there by Bradley Smith. Chadwick leading up to the wing. That's the direction of the kick. Chadwick pulls down the mark at right centre wing for the East Perth side. Breeze looking a little fresher now as Chadwick puts the ball up to the half-forward line, up towards Malcolm Brown. Brown doing battle out there with McAuliffe. Kick from Brown, sending the ball in the full-forward pocket. Dyson coming out in front of Teeny. Kicked off the ground by Thompson. An opportunity now for Bygraves, about 20 yards out from the goals. Bygraves onto the left foot, snaps towards the big ones. One hand goes up from the goal umpire, and the second behind goes on the board to East Perth to take their tally to 2-2.
Not as much cooperation in the East Perth forward line as West Perth, Mel.
Definitely not there. I thought that the other player should have shepherded there for young Bygraves and given him a clear path to goal.
6-12 on the board to West Perth. East Perth 2-2. The kick in from David Dyson to the half-back line. Little had the front berth, but over the top of him goes Bill Dempsey to bring down another good mark. 32 minutes into the first quarter, and the siren should sound at any time for the first quarter interval. Up to Watling, who can't get his hands to the ball before it drifts over the boundary line, and the throw-in to come on the centre wing. There it is. Getting set. You're watching Football on 7. The bounce down for the commencement of the second quarter of the 69 grand final. Farmer got into the air to get the tap, but got onto the shoulder of David Whittle, and Whittle to take the kick from the centre. David Whittle, tall ruckman, puts the ball out to the left half forward flank position. In defence, the mark is taken out there by McAuliffe. Barry McAuliffe at right half-back. It's the ball to the half-forward line. John Wynn in front, bounces over his head. Smith up from the half-forward flank. An opportunity for Haynes, but Smith goes forward. Carried himself a little forward too, but he's won the kick a little forward to the centre line.
Oh, definitely not a free kick then. I think very technical on Monty's behalf. Done a good job to date, though.
There's the kick from Smith. Puts the ball up to the full-forward zone, and it's marked in the back pocket for East Perth by Bradley Smith. Bradley Smith with a long drop kick, sends the ball up to the wing. Dropping back is Chadwick with Watling getting into the air. Pulls down a beautiful mark for West Perth out on the right centre wing.
Dominating that wing, Brian, this young fella today.
Playing a great game, Mel, and he gives the ball over to captain coach Farmer. About 20 yards further up the ground. Farmer at right half forward. It's the kick from Graham Farmer into the full forward pocket position it goes. Matson flying in front off his hands and out of play in the right full forward pocket. Norm Nell, Jimmy Haynes, Whittle coming in from the side. Down it goes to Bygraves. He kicks out to the half-back line. Bounces away from 3 West Perth players, but taken by the 4th and Dempsey. He gets it over to Graham Farmer. Farmer the hand pass to Baker. They're running loose. Baker with a kick, putting the ball on the edge of the square. Coming across is Richards, surrounded by 3 East Perth players, and Richards takes the mark.
Well, that's the way the game's going. 3 East Perth players down there, and they stood and watched Laurie Richards come in and take the mark. You can't win games that way.
No, they're not playing close enough at all to Richards. I feel that the full-back should concentrate more on spoiling him and making the game a more negative one.
Laurie Richards to take a kick, only a few yards out on the acute angle. He's put it through the middle all right, and it's 7-12 on the board to West Perth now. East Perth 2-2.
Well, Laurie Richards, he can't kick him from in front, but he can kick him from a good angle, Mel.
Oh, quite an easy shot that, Bob. I feel from on the ground itself, it is quite easy to kick goals from that position. Got a couple there myself last week.
Must be easy if you can kick him from there, Mel.
Back with the umpire Montgomery, and East Perth rather needing goals in a hurry. Go the ruckman at centre again. Bradley Smith trying to burst his way out. Gets the hand pass over to Gillespie. He fumbles. He's claimed by Watling. Farmer bursting his way through too. Whistle sounding in the back signals the umpire. And the kick is going the way of East Perth, almost from the centre of the ground, and Ken McCauley to take it.
East Perth very unsure, Mel. They don't seem to know what to do at all.
No, they're lacking confidence at the moment. They haven't settled down. They've been changing players here, there and everywhere, and there's no balance in their side at the moment.
Ball brought down again by West Perth. There goes the hand pass over to Watling. Watling getting it to the half-forward line. Miller leading out deep into the boundary line, and he takes the mark at right half-forward.
Keith Miller kicking towards the forward pocket there, but nobody home for West Perth this time, and Jim Haynes takes the mark.
One of the few mistakes West Perth have made. I thought they should have been a long kick into the goal square.
And he puts a short one out to Hansverstigan on the far side of the ground. East Perth not kicking well at the moment, and there's Bill Dempsey once again. He's just setting himself there for the kicks, and they're kicking right to him every time, and once again he brings down a good mark.
Darington on the ground, Bob.
Somebody off for East Perth. We'll pick it up for you in a moment. O'Donoghue being taken off, I think, by Coach Sheedy. Apparently he wasn't fully fit in the first place. Possibly a mistake to play him. And Grant Dorrington on the ground as the ball's gone out of play.
Appears to have an ankle injury. I thought early in the game he got a bit of a slight knock there, but I didn't feel that he would last a great deal of time on the ground, young O'Donoghue.
He hasn't played for quite a few weeks, and there's a play going on there. We'll pick O'Donoghue up as he comes around for you in the moment. Bill Valley on the half-forward line, pulled around the neck. And once again, West Perth to take the kick. Well, West Perth certainly must be in front with many free kicks as they're winning the race to the ball, and East Perth paying the penalty. Bill Valley, the West Perth rover. Punt kick drifting in towards full forward. 2 East Perth players flew together. Out towards the right full forward pocket, Keith Miller. And the ball finally forced over the line. Throw in, right full forward pocket for West Perth. Horn opposed to Norm Nell. The ball brought back into play, socket once again by the Cardinals, and out of play in that same position.
East Perth are definitely in a lot of trouble here at the stage, Bob. They've got to get goals on the board, and they don't look like getting them.
They haven't got anyone to lift them there at the moment, Mel. There's Verstigan bringing the ball away out towards the flank. Oh, McCalgic there ducked his head. A bad mistake by East Perth. They can do nothing right at the moment. And there's the kick once again going to the Cardinals. Bad luck for young Dick McCalgic there, only 18 there.
Well, Bob, I feel not so much bad luck, but bad play, let's face it. He made a mistake and something he shouldn't have done. It's a simple fundamental run. He jumped into the back of the opposition player, and it's very bad at this stage to give kicks within this distance.
And John Wynn taking there onto the left foot this time, swinging the ball in towards full forward. And there's another goal to the Cardinals. They're running away with this grand final at the moment.
Yes, I think Jack Sheedy is going to have to make some changes. What they are, I don't know at this stage. I feel that Graham Farmer's got control of just about every position on the ground, particularly on the ball, and their rovers, young Valley is the only rover on the ground at this stage.
It's the first West Perth player, Bob, to kick 2 goals, so they've come from 7 players so far.
8-12 to 2-2 now in favour of West Perth, and Evans trying to take East Perth forward. Finally does so, up towards the forward line. Tierney flying from behind, but he can't mark it. Out to Melwyn, and West Perth combining cleverly in the back line. To Tony Dragon, he kicks towards the centre wing towards Alan Watling, who takes yet another mark.
Alan Watling having a bundle of kicks out on the right centre wing, has taken a mark there again and will put the Cardinals into attack. Up to the half-forward line, McCalchick behind him, Keith Miller, and Miller pulls down the mark from the back position. 6 minutes into the second quarter. You're watching the second quarter of the 69 grand final on TVW Channel 7. Out comes Richards, off his fingertips, picked up by Stephen Smith. He steadies down from the full forward pocket, drives towards the goal. puts it straight through the middle again for the ninth major on the board to West Perth.
Well, Stephen Smith, he's playing on the left half forward flank at the moment. He kicked that goal from the right full forward position, and his man at the moment is nowhere within 20 yards of him.
Yes, the East Perth half back line, it certainly lacks a lot of confidence. They're leaving their account of their opposition players, and Wynn and Smith, far too much latitude, and the combination of the West Perth team is certainly paying results.
Back with umpire Montgomery for the central bounce. Farmer battling there with Brown. Valley trying to come away with the ball. He's held and will take the kick again from the centre of the ground to put West Perth into attack. East Perth runner out on the ground once again. He's been busier than most of the players. Gets it up to the half-forward line. Over now towards Keith Miller. An opportunity for Rintle. Bursting through is John Wynn. Wynn about 20 yards out. He's claimed by Macaulay and tossed to the deck. Philip Horn trying to get hold of it. In goes Baker. Keith Miller shovels it out towards Norm Nell. Ball coming out now towards the pocket position. Out of play and will be thrown into left full forward for West Perth.
A lot of pressure there, Brian, in that period of play. I thought Ray Montgomery would have given a kick there.
There's the throw in going the way of Malcolm Brown. Gets it down to Bob Graham. Graham puts the ball out towards the grandstand wing position. Over the head of Evans, bursting his way through Hill. Over now to Winnan, over to Pleitner going through. Pleitner kicks to the centre half forward position. McKelchek after it. Down from the wing is Alan Watling. McKelchek winning the day but loses possession of the ball. Goes back after it once again. Watling still in there. Whistle sounding. There's the kick going the way of West Perth once again. They'll take it out on the half forward line and Norm Nell, the ruckman, to take the kick.
Definitely the right decision there. Young McKelchek dropped the ball and therefore must give a free kick to the opposition.
West Perth have been kicking goals extremely accurately from that pocket, and they come in again with an opportunity to score from the beat of Norm Nell. Torpedo punt kick is on its way. It's across the face this time, away to the left-hand side, and brings up their 13th behind. 9-13 on the board. They're racing away from East Perth 2-2. Bill Matson to kick into play. Malcolm Brown leading out of the back pocket position, and he takes the mark for East Perth. Handballs on quickly to Gary Bygraves. Bygraves with a drop kick, puts the ball up to the centre wing position. Thompson in the front berth this time, and he juggles the mark. Has been awarded the kick up on the right centre wing.
East Perth going to attack one of the few times this quarter, up towards the half-forward line, but the West Perth backman backing up well, and McAuliffe gets it down once again towards the centre. John Wynn battling with Macaulay, picked up by Malcolm Brown, and Brown sends the ball towards the Royals forward line. There's 3 West Perth players here. Well, Tierney was in the back that time, but he's been awarded the kick. Apparently, he said Dyson had held Tierney. Couldn't see that one from here, and Phil Tierney to take his kick about 45 yards out directly in front. This will be the first kick that Phil Tierney's have. The Royals hoping he can make it a good one. In towards full forward, and it's through for a badly needed goal there to the Royals.
That's a good goal from Phil Tierney there, one that the Royals badly needed, and they're going to need a great deal more of them if they're going to get back into this game, because they're completely out of it at this stage.
9-13 to 3-2 in favour of West Perth. Certainly a very handy lead to the Cardinals. Jumped out straight away in that first quarter. They certainly wanted the ball, and playing well all over the ground. Very hard to see where East Perth's winning in any position at the moment. Norm Nell allowed to go unattended, but it goes to Vic Evans. There's his high kick towards the half-forward line. Taken by Philip Horn. Could have hand passed it, but he was a bit long. A chance here for Darington. And there's another East Perth goal to rejuvenate the Royals at the moment from the boot of Grant Darington.
Good goal from Darington. I think should have been on the ground in the first 18. Played very well last week against us, Bob. I thought that he'd be very unlucky to have been out of that first 18.
Yes, I think he would. There's Grant Darington there, but came onto the ground in place of O'Donoghue, playing on the half-forward flank, and certainly a badly needed goal. 9-13 East Perth. 4 goals to 9-13 West Perth, 4-2 East Perth, and back with umpire Montgomery. Bill Dempsey getting the thump, and it's a good one to the half-forward line, taken by Rintle. Trying to turn out of trouble, finally does so. Gets a boot towards Chadwick. And interference there. Well, Rintle apparently interfered with somebody. You see that one, Mel?
Bad mistake there by Rintle. Should never interfere with the player. East Perth were going forward.
That's a very doubtful mark there. Farmer just reached over, touched it, and umpire Montgomery paid it. Bad play to... bad decisions to pay in grand finals, very technical marks. Graham Farmer to take the kick about 45 to 50 yards out, and he's directly in front. If you're going to mark the ball, particularly in a grand final, you certainly must hold it. There's a good drop kick from Farmer, floating in towards full forward. Many hands on the ball down there. Wynn allowed to get it. Puts it to his feet there, no pressure whatsoever, and puts it through for another goal to the Cardinals.
Yes, the East Perth backline certainly leaves a fair bit to be desired at this stage. I think it's probably inexperience of young Matson down there on Richards, and the combination of the West Perth forwards is putting him under tremendous amount of pressure. Wynn, a very cool, calculated player and doing a great job at centre-half forward.
Yes, the three danger players in the forward line have all kicked 2 goals each, Richards, Wynn and Smith, and the 12-minute mark in the second quarter.
Scoreboard 10-13 West Perth. East Perth 4 goals 2. Central bounce. Knocked by Whittle this time. Knocked on again by Watling. Brown trying to get out with the ball. It's forced up to half forward. Right at the chest there of Barry McAuliffe, marking on the half-back flank for West Perth. Crawler from the half-back line. Sends the ball over the centre. John Wynn in front. Down towards Bill Dempsey. Gary Gillespie going in to tackle him. Malcolm Brown bursting his way up. Goes for the hand pass out towards Derek Chadwick. Chadwick shepherded by Thompson. Puts the ball to his boot. There's the pass. Gives the ball to Darington, and Darington in possession on the half-forward line once again. Kicked a nice goal just a few moments ago, and East Perth badly needing another one. Darington. Camera shot over his shoulder as he takes this kick. It's going right into the 10-yard square, thumped away by West Perth defenders, and through for another behind to the East Perth side.
Probably the East Perth mistake there. Chadwick short pass at about 15 yards. I thought that a long kick would have achieved a better result.
Comments coming from Malcolm Atwell today as David Dyson puts the ball into play again. Out to the half-back line. A big pack in the air. No one can bring it down. John Hill going after the crumbs. In to tackle him as Bygraves. Bygraves picking up close to the line. Dropped it to his boot outside the line though. And rightly the boundary umpire has signalled out of play. The ball to be thrown in on the right half-forward flank position for East Perth. David Whittle, Malcolm Brown, Bill Dempsey, Norm Nell. Taken by Dempsey behind the pack. He's claimed by Bygraves. Bygraves at half forward. Sends a long kick sailing up on the edge of the goal square once again. Brought away by Tony Dragon. Dragon's caught. Out to the half-back line. Evans goes through. Misses the kick off the ground. West Perth clear again up towards the wing position. And again, they get themselves out of trouble at right centre wing. Mel Winnan leading down to the half-forward line. That's the direction of the kick, and it's taken by Mel Winnan. Watling leading further down the ground. On it goes to that player, and Watling now in possession of the ball on the right half-forward flank.
Inexperienced there, Bob. Young Watling turned and went back with his back to the game. Should have turned and gone straight on with it.
Pass was on to Valley. Knocked away by Bob Graham. The mark has been awarded to Bill Valley, and he'll take the kick on the half-forward line. Bob Graham didn't like that decision too much. The kick from Valley is away to the right-hand side and through for the 14th behind to West Perth. 10-14 on the board now. 74. East Perth 4 goals 3. Matson kicks into play quickly out to the grandstand flank. McCauley setting himself, and he pulls down a nice mark out on the half-back flank for East Perth. Kick from McCauley, relaying the ball up to the wing position. Thompson, and it's out of play.
The East Perth ruck certainly well behind at the moment, not playing effectively at all. And there's West Perth getting it out, but it goes to Gillespie, and once again the ball out of play.
Bob, they haven't got the finesse of the West Perth rucks. I feel in Farmer, Dempsey and Nell are 3 dominant factors in this game.
They certainly are. David Whittle played a great game last week, but he can't get into the game today, and Bygraves picks it up, boots it in towards full forward, flattened as he kicked the ball, and umpire Montgomery awarding the kick where the ball landed. Malcolm Brown quick to pounce on the ball. He's taking it now about 45 to 50 yards out, but Malcolm Brown's not kicking well today. Strangely ineffective. Usually a good kick, Mel Brown, but he's not kicking well and forced through once again for 1 point. He's not getting distance, Mel, like he usually does.
Bob, he doesn't go back for his kick. When he kicks too hurriedly and kind of stand on the mark and take 2 strides instead of getting balance and getting the full strength of his follow through of his kick.
David Dyson out towards the flank. Bill Valley in there battling for West Perth. Comes out to Bradley Smith. Finally gets his kick, but there's nobody there at all, and the ball's out of play. Right full forward position for East Perth. 10-14 to 4-4 in favour of West Perth. Chance for Valley once again. David Whittle Phil Tierney, here's a chance for Tierney, but he's well met there, solidly met there by the West Perth defenders, and the ball's out of play. Phil Tierney, as you saw, trying to burst his way through that pack.
Some great defensive play there by West Perth.
David Whittle. West Perth closing the game up now as East Perth trying to break away there, and umpire Montgomery to bounce it down just about in the 10-yard square. You can see the pack of players around the ball. Phil Tierney gets it. He can't get his kick. The West Perth defenders fighting tigerously. And once again, the ball to be rebounced.
There's a heap of them down there, Bob.
Certainly a pack around the ball. West Perth trying to close it up, of course, automatically in that forward line. Farmer in there, and he thumps it towards the flank. Evans also has a knock, and the ball's gone out of play.
Game has quietened down considerably at this stage. Both sides are eased off in tempo, and the pace of the game is not quite as severe as it was earlier.
And the big crowd strangely silent at the moment with such a big lead by the West Perth side. Round the neck, says umpire Montgomery, and Bill Valley to take his kick, left full back pocket. Well, umpire Montgomery whistling the player back on the mark.
The East Perth team making it very easy, Bob, for Ray Montgomery.
They certainly are. East Perth doing everything wrong in the book at the moment as Bill Valley kicks towards the centre. The 220s, Pleitner and Bradley Smith. Well picked up there by Mel Winnan, playing a good game in the centre at the moment. Towards half forward, and the ball out of play. Well, we haven't seen a great many fireworks to date, and we're 18 minutes into the second quarter.
10-14 on the board to West Perth. East Perth 4 goals 4. Thrown at left half forward for the Cardinals. John Wynn gets the knockout in front. Pleitner after the ball, and again it's out of play on that left half forward flank. 74 points to 28. A big break to West Perth. Farmer screens through, takes the ball, hand passes there over to Graham. Graham bursting his way up, brushes aside Valley, gets it up towards Gillespie on the wing. Gillespie in trouble, gets around and manages to get his kick into the ball. Up towards the centre wing, knocked down by Chadwick, nicely to Verstegen. Verstegen onto the boot, looking for Malcolm Brown, finds the centre half forward. Brown goes on quickly, there's his kick going up on the edge of the goal square. Bygraves battling with Dragon, Teeny after the ball in the full forward pocket. And Teeny tossed to the deck solidly by the West Perth defenders, and the ball out of play.
Well, Teeny was going around on his right foot and turned back into that West Perth defender.
This West Perth defence is one of the best I've seen this year, Bob.
There's the throw in that full forward pocket position. Once again, the West Perth defence forces the ball out to the half-back line. There's a deal going on out there. Evans trying to mark with Watling. In the back as the East Perth player fell right over the top of Mel Winnan, and he'll take the kick out on the half-back flank.
15 yards there.
Bygrave, the East Perth player, put on the mark. Kolchek it is going up onto it. There's the ball put over into the centre of the ground. Smith coming up with him, Rintle, and Rintle takes the mark this time for East Perth. Goes for the hand pass over to Bradley Smith into the centre of the ground to Chadwick. Chadwick from the centre puts the ball up over the half forward line. With Whittle in the air, couldn't take the mark. Tries to shovel out to a teammate. The whistle sounding, and the kick is going the way of David Whittle, the East Perth ruckman. Didn't see the signal or what it was for, but he's got the kick all right. Graham Farmer standing on the mark, and the East Perth ruckman with an opportunity to score. David Whittle kicking into the new grandstand. There's the kick. It's a shocker. Up on the edge of the goal square, and the mark is taken up there by Barry McAuliffe.
These West Perth players certainly taking a lot of marks unattended, Mel.
Definitely are. They're playing in front of their men also, and playing with a lot more confidence in the East Perth side.
There's the kick from McAuliffe. Puts the ball out towards the grandstand flank this time. Pleitner had the ball lined up all the way, and he takes the kick on the half-back flank. Brian Pleitner sending the ball to the wing. Any player on the spot is Malcolm Bradley Smith, and he takes the mark. Bradley Smith sees the lead on to Thompson, hits that player on the chest with the pass. Thompson gets around. There's the left foot drop kick, gaining plenty of distance. Opportunity for Teeny going after the crumbs. Three West Perth players behind him. Farmer had him lined up but missed, and the ball picked up very quickly and cleared out of play once again on the half-back flank.
Mel, not one East Perth player came to back Teeny up there.
No, a great example set there by Graham Farmer on how to use your body and use it well.
Throw in right half forward flank for East Perth. Graham Farmer number 1, Bradley Smith number 20, and Bill Dempsey. Gillespie not handling it well today. Chadwick and the ball once again to be rebounced. Farmer and Dempsey still on the ball for West Perth, have done a great job in this first half. Down towards Brian Plyton, still playing on the wing. Chadwick floored, but the kick goes on and Graham takes the mark right half back. There's Baker there on the ground from that skirmish towards Rintle, and the ball's gone out of play.
East Perth have got to lengthen their kicking if they're going to get back into the game. They need goals, and their short passing is coming unstuck all the time.
John Wynn coming in takes the hit out. And Wynn awarded that kick there. A little bit of a skirmish there, nothing much in it in front of no. The kick's going the other way. Well, I couldn't see that one.
No, that was definitely wrong. A very bad decision by Ray Montgomery.
Rintle was the one that came in there, but he finally awarded the kick. And there's a blind kick into no man's land, and Dempsey comes out with it. East Perth kicking widely as they cross the centre, and Dempsey kicks back towards the flank, very close to the line here in front of the member stand, and the ball's out of play. Well, all the East Perth forwards are on the ball at the moment. Keith Miller come right over from the other side of the ground. Philip Horn. Keith Miller. Bill Valley. To Stephen Smith, left half forward. Driving in towards full forward. Jim Haynes. Jim Haynes bursting his way through from the back line. But there's nobody home left. There's 3 West Perth players here. Dempsey gets it out to Watling. Played a good game on the wing, this fellow, and he drives towards a half-forward line looking for Richards. There he is, Spring-Hill Jack there in the air. And Richards soaring into the air, as you saw there, above Bill Matson to bring another one down on the half-forward line. About 50 yards out from goal.
Bob, it's evident that still that West Perth are controlling the air, and there hasn't been one mark I've considered by the East Perth side that could be considered the best mark of the day. Richards
kicked 2-4 at the moment, coming in now to have another shot. The drop kick, low trajectory, but it's floating over towards the pack. In the backs is umpire Montgomery in that pack, and the kick going the way of Ken McCauley. Ken McCauley in the 10-yard square to relieve the pressure. East Perth certainly needing some goals at the moment as McCauley kicks towards the flank. Bill Valley high in the air, but he was a little bit too early, and Gary Bygraves to take the kick. Yes, West Perth are controlling most positions. Look at Bill Dempsey floating over here, Mel, for this kick. He's certainly playing the spearman in defence to perfection.
Plays his kick behind, as you say, to perfection. Bill's a lot of experience behind him.
There's Bill Dempsey. They're all on his own, just floating around, watching where the kick's going to go. Gary Bygraves taking his time this time. There goes the kick. Towards Philip Horn, and Horn in front takes the mark. Philip Horn, haven't seen much of this player today. Horn got no leads offering whatsoever. Kicks towards Malcolm Brown, but it's knocked away, and Brown finally recovers though. Yes, he has taken the mark. A good courageous mark there by Brown. Brown and Smith and 1 or 2 other players trying to rally this East Perth side. A pack of West Perth players up there. David Dyson out towards the flank. Chadwick there battling with Hill. Always a West Perth player backing up, and Mel Winnan comes out with it. And a good kick, a little skirmish going on up there. The kick could be awarded to Chadwick.
He shepherded Chadwick, Bob, and I think umpire Montgomery thought the elbow came up.
And Chadwick awarded the kick behind the play there, right half forward.
Nothing intentional.
That would be inexperienced, Bob.
Up towards Bradley Smith. Very close to the line up there. Smith bursting his way through there in that forward pocket. Phil Tierney. West Perth trying to finally bring the ball away. Smith still in it. A throw there, bad luck for Bradley Smith, trying to get through that pack. 25-minute mark, and West Perth awarded the kick.
Bill Valley to take it again. On the back pocket position, gets the ball out to the half-back line. Pleitner in the air. Philip Horn taking the crumbs, gets around Stephen Smith. Gets the ball to his boot, the whistle sounding once again. Philip Horn got a clip over the ear. He's signalling umpire Montgomery it should be where it lands.
Well, I'd say, Brian, that would do him the world of good, because he's hadn't had the kick up to date, and I think that was a very technical decision on Ray Montgomery's behalf.
Here's Philip Horn to take his kick. He's on the right centre wing, putting the ball up to the half-forward line. There's Evans with the ball lined up. Didn't have to move more than a yard, and he takes the mark. The West Perth confidence growing by the minute, and the East Perth side fumbling badly. Here's a kick from Evans off the side of the boot, and it's out of play.
That breeze, Brian, blowing pretty strongly now towards the grandstand into the ground. I think it's strengthened, if anything.
On the throw-in, taken by Malcolm Brown. Brown gets to the boundary line and shoots the ball up towards that pocket position. David Dyson into the air, throws himself after the ball and pulls down a nice mark.
Front position paying off all day.
The windsock doesn't seem to be blowing that heavily, Mel, but the flag on top of the grandstand blowing very briskly. The kick from Dyson out to the half-back flank position once again. Again, West Perth in front, comes down to Verstegen on this occasion. Verstegen goes to the deck. Umpire Montgomery will bounce down once again. Verstegen hurt in that skirmish, still on the ground. Whittle and Evans reaching for the knock. Evans' handball's out of play. And again, a throw incoming.
Look, I can't understand the West Perth side there, Brian. They're playing down this side of the grandstand side of the ground. I think it's the negative side of the ground.
Evans went down off his legs there. The kick is being taken by David Whittle. Whittle putting the ball up over the half-forward line. Two West Perth players in the air again to spoil Teeny. Taken by Dyson. The long hand pass coming out to Valley on the half-back flank. Valley but all day to steady down. There he goes, turning play into the centre of the oval. John Wynn up there, down towards the half-back line. But the mark is brought down by Vic Evans of East Perth. Here's the kick from Evans. Sailing up to the full forward zone once again. Opportunity for Teeny, gathering the crumbs. Hand passes over to Ian Thompson. Thompson with the left foot sends it on its way towards the goals. Wrong side of the post and through for another behind. Their first score on the East Perth tally for quite some time to take their score along now to 4-5. 4-5, and they're trailing West Perth 10-14 in the second quarter of the 69 grand final.
David Dyson, a short pass in towards Mel Winnan at the 28-minute mark, and Winnan accepts the pass. Out towards the flank, Alan Watling. Been a good player all day for West Perth. Short pass in towards Miller. McKeldrick's in there with him battling. Miller finally comes out with it. Kicks towards a half-forward line. Farmer setting himself, but it's knocked away. David Whittle. Whittle still trying to come away with the ball, but it goes towards John Wynn. East Perth a little bit more purpose in their play, but Chadwick can't get through. And there's a kick towards a half-forward line. And Thompson from the back, a good mark there. One of the few good marks that East Perth have taken. Thompson throwing himself in there, as you saw, to bring that one down. Malcolm Brown was all on his own calling for the ball, but Thompson is going to have the long kick. Up there's Dempsey setting himself once again, and Dempsey coming down with the ball. No trouble to this fellow in the back line to bring these marks down. And Watling once again coming up. He's getting away, yards away from Vic Evans. And Watling to take the kick between right full and right half-back. 29-minute mark.
Position there on behalf of the player, Jimmy
Haynes.
Haynes it is, yeah, Jimmy Haynes jumps straight in the back of the West Perth player. Could kick it from here. It's a very easy place to kick goal from.
Comments from Mel Atwell as Keith Miller sends the ball on its way. I think he heard Jamel. He's put it right through the middle, just over the top of the fingers, and through it goes. And another full-pointer on the board for West Perth.
Second goal reverts through for West Perth, Mel.
That grandstand makes a big difference there, Bob, where it takes away and smothers the breeze and carries the ball over longer distances than you'd think.
11-15 West Perth. 4-5 East Perth, and that's the goal that East Perth wanted to kick them along, but Cardinals well in control at the moment. Back in the centre. Craig Baker. Up towards a half-forward line. Oh, a missed mark there by Don Wintle. Bad mistake. Allows Smith to pick it up. Smith kicking in towards full forward. And Mal Brown in front takes the mark. Plays on quickly towards the centre. Look at this. Farmer and Dempsey. Who's going to take it? Both on their own there. Across the centre of the ground. They've been like that all day, and the East Perth ruckmen certainly haven't woken up to them. Graham Farmer, a long drop kick into the forward line. Scramble going on out there on the half-forward flank. Players going out right, left and centre. Picked up by Laurie Richards. Richards running free there. Kicks it across towards the other flank. Knocked away by Brown towards Chadwick. Brown tearing through now. Great determination there, but he's kicked it right under the chest of Dragon, and West Perth get out of trouble.
Bob, that wasn't Brown's fault. It wasn't one forward in the East Perth side came forward.
Keith Miller. A good snap kick from Miller, running away from goals, but offline and through only for 1 point. Yes, they haven't got much to kick to. The forward line and the centre line very static, Mel.
This Thompson, I think he ought to take a leaf out of Brown's book, the way he's coming out of that back line, and show a little bit more courage, I think, that he has up to date, and try and lift the East Perth side.
Bill Matson. Not getting a great deal of distance with his kicks today. Out towards Vic Evans, quickly recovers. Boots it towards right centre wing. Chance here for John Hill it was. Picks up the ball. Still in play out there on the far side of the ground. Caller. Up towards the full forward line. Bill Valley. Bill Matson coming through with Bob Graham. And Bob Graham gets the Royals out of trouble right on the chest of Malcolm Brown. Malcolm Brown, a drop kick towards centre half forward. And a good mark there to Thompson. No, it's not paid. Well, some of those others have been paid. It certainly looks as though it should have been. Play still going on. And finally it's shovelled by West Perth out. And Haynes takes the mark. Well, a couple of kicks there could have been awarded. Jimmy Haynes kicks the ball back towards the centre with a floating punch. And Mel Winnan in front takes the mark.
Very, very poor play by Philip Horn there. 6 inches taller than Mel Winnan and allowed him to take the mark off him.
Mel Winnan, 193 games, and he's played this one well, and a good mark out there once again to Keith Miller. Well, a very damaging forward line of the West Perth crowd. Keith Miller sees a short pass over the head of Richards. Bill Matson boots it back towards the flank. East Perth playing 2-1 out there. No trouble for Miller to pick it up once again. A long kick in towards full forward. Malcolm Brown in front. Play on, says umpire Montgomery. Picked up by Stephen Smith. Onto the boot. Making it very easy at the moment and running away with this grand final.
Yes, it looks like West Perth are certainly running away with the game. East Perth a bit unlucky there. I thought possibly Malcolm Brown had that mark. The forward pocket ruckman came over the top and Ray Montgomery, being a little bit out of position, said play on.
Looked like a mark, Mel, certainly from up here. Bounced out in the centre once again. 6 minutes into the third quarter. You're watching Football on 7, the third quarter of the 1969 grand final. The kick from Fleitner up to the full forward zone. Richards high in the air. Bradley Smith taking the ball on the goal line, forces it over the line, and is through for another behind.
A lot of pressure going on the East Perth team here.
Telecast of the grand final going to Goldsworthy and also to viewers at Albany and Bunbury, who I'm sure will be enjoying this coverage of the 69 grand final. The kick in puts the ball onto the chest of Derek Chadwick, marking out on the half-back flank. Chadwick sees the lead on to Malcolm Brown, gives the ball to that player on the half-back line. East Perth having trouble getting over half-forward. Brown kicks into the man on the mark. It's picked up there by Jimmy Haynes. Haynes gets the ball up to the half-forward line. Bill Dempsey is there. Thompson in the air, but again, Dempsey claims the mark. Pulls it down. Safest pair of hands on the oval undoubtedly, and he'll kick this ball back into the forward zone for West Perth once again. It's the kick from Dempsey back over the centre half forward position. Mel setting himself, knocked away by Malcolm Brown. Brown trying to burst his way out once again, gets out for the ball and puts it back into the centre of the oval. This time the mark is taken by Philip Horn.
Certainly Brown displaying a lot of courage out there.
The only player looks like a football at the moment in the East Perth team.
Out to the half-forward line. McKelchek is out there. Onto the boot, looking for Whittle up in the full-forward pocket position, and it beats that player out of bounds once again. Throw-in coming now in the right half-forward flank position for East Perth, badly needing a string of goals to get themselves back into the 69 grand final. Farmer over to Baker. Baker on the half-back flank, drop kicks the ball up to the centre wing position. Taken behind the pack by Bob Graham. It's the hand pass over to Rental. Rental clears the ball back to the half-forward line. Farmer propped on the spot, drops the mark on this occasion, shoveled out quickly to Evans though. Evans getting it back towards the half-forward line. Ken McCauley coming across, couldn't take the mark. In goes Valley again to drive the ball across to centre half-forward. Nell coming out to meet it. Norm Nell at centre half-forward, turns the ball back on the edge of the goal square. Matson got his eyes on it, couldn't take the mark. Picked up by Richards into open goal.
Some bad play there by East Perth the game where the full-back player and Jimmy Haynes there flew with the full-back and allowed the West Perth player to stand down and take the crumbs and kick an easy goal.
Well, the scoreboard showing a one-sided affair here at Subiaco Oval, 13-17 to 4-5 and a commanding lead to the Cardinals.
Yes, winning in most positions on the ground at the moment. Mel Brown in there trying to rally him. It's picked up by Gillespie. Up towards the flank. Phil Teeney got his back to the ball at the moment. But West Perth coming straight through. Tony Dragon. Alan Watling. Backing up well this West Perth side. Taken by Tony Dragon. A poor old kick and it's gone out of play at right half forward. Well, Brown's trying his best to rally him, Mel, but there doesn't seem to be many others that can lift this Royal side. Malcolm Brown there, still battling on towards Tierney. Tierney, left centre wing, and right in the arms of Tony Drake. Well, that's how the game's been going all day. West Perth standing well in front of their opponents and getting the mark time and time again. Dragon, not a good kick, and he's put it out right here in front of the member stand.
He's definitely a little bit dejected here, Bob. I feel that they're going to need a big effort from Philip Horn and Whittle and their other co-ruckman. Malcolm Brown doing his part, but the other three players haven't been sided.
There's the Sandover medalist coming in again, but he's tackled by Miller. Gets out of trouble at Chadwick. To Gillespie. East Perth trying to fight their way forward now. Goes to Bygraves. Bygraves, a long kick towards full forward. There's Dempsey setting himself with Whittle. A chance for East Perth here. Whittle over to Tierney, but he can't hold it. Tierney, left ball forward pocket, back to Whittle. Oh, some silly, stupid hand passing there by East Perth, and the ball's gone out of play. No correlation at all between the East Perth forwards and West Perth back, certainly having a birthday down there at the moment. Out towards the flank to Craig Baker. Baker, a high kick up towards the centre wing. And Keith Miller coming in. West Perth getting the brace at the moment. Certainly taking the initiative, playing with plenty of confidence. Keith Miller up towards the half-forward line. Alan Watling. Watling still controlling the ball. In comes Farmer to lend a hand. No trouble. Picks it up quite easily. Puts it in towards full forward. Richardson, Matson. Richards in front. Screws it around under that foot. There's another excellent snapshot. Certainly everything going the Cardinals' way at the moment. And the fourth goal on the board to Laurie Richards.
Laurie Richards certainly having a birthday down there at full forward. I feel that possibly Jack might like to change young McCauley back there and see if he can't stop the ball in the last line of defence.
I think perhaps we can get a shot of Jack Sheedy later on. I don't think he can do much at all at the moment. Mal, 14-17 to 4-5 in favour of West Perth at the 12-minute mark in the third quarter. Brian Thurley.
Centre bounce again. Up go the ruckman. Philip Horn trying to tap the ball away. Evans going after it for West Perth. With him is Verstegen. Verstegen picks it up, runs straight smack bang into Mel Winnan, and he's claimed solidly, and the ball will be bounced down by umpire Montgomery. West Perth still piling on the goals here in the third quarter. Knocked out again by Evans, tapped over by Pleitner. Out it comes to Norm Nell. Nell onto the boot, down to the half-forward line. Stephen Smith dropping back is untroubled again to take the mark.
Redtill's playing far too way away.
Hand pass on quickly to Valley. Valley runs around two East Perth players, straightens up for a shot of the big ones, and he's put it through again for 1 point. Yes, they're pretty loose, Mel.
Yeah, Redtill should get back onto his half-forward there. He's giving him far too much.
There's Jack Sheedy and the East Perth crowd on the bench. Certainly a very dejected crowd there at the moment, and East Perth can do nothing right, sending the runner out now.
Kick in to be taken again by Matson. Out to the half-back line. Norm Nell launches himself in the air, couldn't take the mark. The crumbs are taken by Haynes. Hand pass over to Gillespie. Gillespie sending the ball up to the wing. Teeny comes up. Goes for the hand pass across now to Verstegen in the centre of the oval. Taken by Verstegen. His kick going up over the half-forward line. Philip Horn in front, over the top of him again. Bill Dempsey to take another mark. He must have had 100 marks today. Hand passes on quickly. Over to John Hill. West Perth out of trouble again as they send it back into their half-forward line. Wind soaring into the air, almost took a one-hander. Out it comes to Keith Miller. Miller steadies down, drives up on the edge of the square. Richards into the air, and again he plucks the ball out of the air and takes another great mark about 10 yards out from the goals.
Well, certainly West Perth's day, Brian. They can do nothing wrong at the moment.
Bob, that would be the mark of the day, a fantastic mark. Threw up over the top of Malcolm Brown and took it on his chest. Must have been shoulder high.
I think you can pick 3 or 4 of Richards, Mel, and they'd all be the mark of the day.
Here's Richards lining up the shot. He's kicked 4 for the Cardinals in the grand final to date. Now he's kicked 5 as he puts it through the middle of the 15th goal on the board to West Perth.
Young Matson having a hard job there, Mel, but could you swing anyone else in there?
Well, as I said earlier, possibly McCauley might be able to go back there, but I feel that if you're going to win a game, you must attack.
Well, 108 points, a cricket score on the board for West Perth at the moment, 15-18. They're leading East Perth 4 goals 5, and East Perth haven't added to their score since the half-time interval. Bounced down again from umpire Montgomery. It's thumped out this time by Whittle, taken away by Gary Gillespie. East Perth trying to get into attack, but breaking down up here at half-forward. Brought down by Phil Teeney this time as he sweeps the ball forward. The pass is on to Darington. Through his fingers it goes. Darington going back, trying to regather it. And taken away by David Dyson. Dyson eludes the pack and clears again to the far side of the ground. Pleitner in front, knocked away by Evans. Pleitner quick to gather the crumbs there for West Perth. And there's his long kick sailing right up to the half-forward line. Graham in front, over the top of him goes Baker. Brought away there by Bob Graham. Graham putting it back towards the centre wing position. Evans and Pleitner going after it, and it's out of play right on the centre wing.
Well, Pleitner's showing surprising pace out there for a big man, Mel.
That's right. I think that he's played exceptionally well. Across the centre, they dominated the West Perth team, and Pleitner has been by no means the least of the three.
Vic Evans awarded that kick out on right centre wing. Towards centre, half forward. Bill Valley. Many West Perth players ready to back their teammates up. As Valley kicks towards the half-forward line. Craig Baker on to Smith. Here's Smith running goalwards about 40 yards out. The drop kick. And there it is. No trouble whatsoever. And they're just piling them on at the moment in this 1969 grand final. That's their 16th.
This will be the highest score, the biggest margin in any of the grand finals in the last 4 years. Quite obviously, West Perth are dominating all around the ground, and East Perth just haven't got an answer for them.
5 goals to Smith, 4 goals to Smith, and 5 goals to Richards, the main goal scorers at the moment, and 16-18 to 4-5, and East Perth in a very, very sorry position at the moment. Bringing it away from the centre, West Perth, but it goes to Gillespie this time. To David Whittle. Whittle, a short pass to Darington, finds that player out there on the half-forward flank. Brent Darington started off as reserve, came on in place of Mark O'Donoghue. There's his torpedo, punt kick drifting towards full forward. It's all West Perth once again. Tony Dragon, one of the smallest players, but the kick has been awarded to Bill Dempsey. What a great player this fellow is. He's played 189 games for West Perth, and this one would be one of his greatest. Out towards the half-back flank. Neil Evans, but he's dropped it. Phil Teeney. Too high, says umpire Montgomery. And once again, the kick going to West Perth, Bill Valley. Bill Valley kicking towards a half-forward line. And the ball's gone out of play. Well, I look a tired side, Mel. Do you think the couple of hard games is telling against East Perth?
Well, I feel that obviously when you win the second final, the second semi, you're in the box seat, and West Perth have taken full advantage of this. They are definitely faster to the ball and showing a lot more spirit than the East Perth side, although at this stage it's quite obvious East Perth would not have a chance of winning the game.
Farmer opposed to Horn and Brown. Brown from the back to Chadwick. East Perth running into a trouble all the time as Gillespie finally breaks clear. Kicks it towards the flank, towards Thompson, and Thompson takes the mark. Ian Thompson at centre half forward. Thompson kicking towards the full forward position, missed there by McKelchick. In the right full forward pocket, Bygraves. A snap over the shoulder, and it's hit the post. Well, that's how East Perth are going at the moment. Nothing will go right from. They've hit the post twice, just when they're badly needing goals. And that shot, as you saw from Bygraves, hit the post.
Both posters came from Bygraves too, Bob.
Yes, Bygraves and the East Perth Rovers are very quiet today. We've hardly seen any Rover other than Valley, I feel, who's done quite a good job for the West Perth
David Dyson, 108 games to his credit as fullback, and kicking a good kick out towards the flank. Farmer and Dempsey in there battling. Out towards the flank to Watling, and Watling kicks the ball towards the half-forward line. Nell coming well down in front, takes the mark at the 18-minute mark.
Well, Nell out on the half-forward line. Plenty of movement in the West Perth forward line. There's Richards coming out. Nell putting the ball in that direction. Richards soars into the air. He's carried away by Matson, and the kick will go the way of Laurie Richards. He's probably getting desperate, Mel. Matson is just what he can do, I suppose.
Well, it's very frustrating for a young player like him. I think he's tried as hard as he can to counter Richards, but Richards is having one of those day outs. He just can't do a thing wrong. He's taking marks all around the ground, and takes me back to the first game of the year when we played West Perth. I saw him do something similar to Graham Ramshaw.
Laurie Richards lining up the shot, has kicked 5. There's the ball on its way. That sees half dozen up, and another goal on the board to the West Perth side.
Well, the Cardinals have certainly had a long drought between premierships. 1960 was their last one, but they certainly look like carrying off this 1969 one with the victors.
They can wrap this one up for sure, Bob. They can all go home now, and East Perth couldn't win it.
Oh, So the scoreboard showing 17-18 to West Perth. 4 goals, 6 to the Royals. From the centre of the oval, Baker trying to burst out with the ball. He's firmly held. Couldn't get rid of it, says the umpire, and they'll bounce down again at centre. Pretty frustrating sort of a day for Royal supporters, and there's many of them in the big crowd here at Subiaco Oval. The hand pass from Farmer out towards the wing position. Fleitner after it, taken by Evans. He was held. Play on now, says the umpire. No, he doesn't. He'll take the ball back and give Evans his kick a little forward to the right centre wing. Eddie Pitter coming around the ground, preparing to come onto the ground. Looks like Whittle coming off. Whittle off and Pitter on. There's the ball put down to Malcolm Brown, who's taken the mark at right half forward. Kick from Malcolm Brown, sailing up on the edge of the square. Pitter setting himself just on the ground. Dempsey high in the air. An opportunity for Thompson, 25 yards out. He turns the ball back towards the goals. Dragon high in the air, reaching for it. Scooped up again by Dempsey, a yard outside the line. He puts it to his boot and out of play in the full-back pocket position for the Cardinals. In goes Philip Horn, Graham Farmer, Eddie Pitter. Tony Dragon runs into Farmer, can't get out of the pack. No one can do very much with it. Once again, umpire Montgomery bouncing down. The cameraman picking up some good shots today, Bob, and Jerry Swift is selecting the best of them to go to air, and we've got some good photos of the 69 grand final. Here's the kick from Tony Dragon in the back pocket, out to the half-back flank. Mel Winnan coming across, can't take the mark. The crumbs are swept on by Watling there. Watling up towards the wing position. Haynes takes the ball away from Miller, gets around Watling, sends it back to the half-forward line. Down to Mel Winnan. Winnan again driving it back to the attacking zone for the West Perth side. And Jimmy Haynes going the same way as the ball. Looked like he'd taken the mark. There's the kick claimed by Bill Valley. He called for the kick and has been awarded the kick from umpire Montgomery out on the half-forward line.
Valley playing the ball all the way there, deserved that kick.
Bill Valley playing in his first year with West Perth, and he certainly had a good one. There's a long torpedo punt kick towards the forward line. Richard setting himself again, but he can't mark this one. McCauley from the back, and the ball's gone out of play. Well, Jack Sheedy, the East Perth coach, has switched players all over the ground, but all to no avail at the moment. The kick in towards Hand first again, and he takes the mark. David Whittle came off the ground there. There's a umpire Montgomery coming over now. Says Verstigan used the elbow, taking the kick off him and giving it to Keithman.
Definitely a bad decision there, Bob. 15 was interfering with Verstigan, and Verstigan only retaliated, and I feel it was very unjust in taking the kick off him.
Well, when you go bad, you certainly go bad, Mel. And there's a kick from Miller in towards full forward. Bob Graham out to Rintle. Don Rintle having trouble there, clashes there heavily with Mel, and the ball's out of play. And there's John Wynn. Has it gone over there?
Wynn on the ground, Bob, yeah.
Well, he's flat on his back there. A knock there by that East Perth player. John Wynn, of course, you never know how he's going, this player. He certainly looked as though he took a knock there, Mel.
Yes, you could never, as you say, tell how bad John is. He's a great actor as well as a great player, and takes full advantage of every situation.
Well, he took no trouble to get up, no time to get up when he was awarded that kick. And John Wynn between right half and right full forward, onto the left foot this time. Knocked away by Graham. Baker. 3 East Perth players there, but nobody wants it. A scramble there as Richards goes flying out of that pack.
I think there's a bit of frustration coming into East Perth's play now.
I think Farmer's trying to settle them down here, Brian. It's quite a good decision. He's telling Richards to take his time and settle the game right down. East Perth, as you say, becoming very frustrated and starting to play the man a little bit instead of the ball, I feel.
East Perth kicking with the advantage of the breeze in this quarter, certainly freshened towards the grandstand end of the ground, and Laurie Richards about 55 to 60 yards out. Torpedo punt kick into the left full forward pocket. Good mark there by Rintle. Round the flank he goes, well shepherded there by Verstigan. Cheers from the West Perth crowds. He kicks towards the centre. Vic Evans waited for that player to come in and tackle him. Bradley Smith. Hands Verstigan, a very tired player at the moment, taken by Mel Winnan, playing well in the centre. And there's his kick towards a half-forward line. Jim Haynes, eyes on the ball all the way, and he would take the mark.
Mel Winnan still dominating in the centre, Bob.
He's played a great game, Mel. as we said before, the only player to play in the 1960 Premiership side for the Cardinals, and he's certainly come back well to play well today. Dick McCulloch, the youngest player on the ground, hasn't had a good day, this fellow. There's he kicks towards a half-forward flank. Not many of these Perth players, unfortunately for Royals, have had too good a day. Taken by Greg Asprey. To Pleitner. Good combination between the West Perth players. Towards a half-forward line, Ken McCauley, and he takes them up.
One of the few kicks Ken McCauley's had today. Been very, very quiet player today.
Started off well, but he's had a hard job on John Wynn. There's the kick to the centre of the ground. Phil Tierney. Tierney having trouble, as most of these Perth players are, in controlling the ball. Goes out towards the flank. Norm Nell, Bob Graham. Bob Graham out there, turning out of trouble. Gets the ball down, but no East Perth players there, and the ball's gone out of play, but Graham could be awarded the kick by the leg. 25-minute mark in the third quarter, 1969 grand final.
17-18 on the board, 120 to West Perth. East Perth 4 goals, 6-30. Here's the kick by Graham, putting the ball up over the centre line. Bill Dempsey again into the air to take a good mark.
He'd be best on the ground, Mel, at the moment, wouldn't he?
I think that Dempsey would be one of the best players in the best three anyway on the ground. Very hard to pick the best three for West Perth, but he's been one of those for sure.
Dempsey's kick comes unstuck this time. The pass to Valley, intercepted by Gillespie. He puts it back to the half-forward line. There's interference as they prepared the game for the ball, and the kick is going the way of Thompson on the half-forward line for the East Perth side.
Be one of the few kicks, Brian, he's got in the game, I'd say, and it's a free kick at that.
Hasn't been very prominent at all, Mel. No, it's Horn to take the kick. Horn received the interference. Darington coming out from full forward. Opportunity for Teeny now over the left full forward pocket. Teeny having trouble picking up the ball. Evans goes right over the top of him. 26 minutes into the third quarter, and West Perth sweep him over the boundary line with the ball. They want it much more badly than East Perth do.
Well, 5 West Perth players there, and Phil Tierney.
Force of numbers. Bob swept him over the line. There's Farmer at the throw-in. He's got a headlock on him from McCulloch, and the kick will go the way of Graham Farmer in the back pocket for West Perth.
This shows that the teamwork and the backing up of the West Perth side is perfect on this combination, using their body to great advantage.
Kick by Farmer, looking for Dragon out on the half-back flank. Dragon carries the ball over the line. A throw-in coming at left half forward again for the East Perth side. Eddie Pitter, Neil Evans. Pitter gets the touch out the back. After it goes Chadwick, with him as Wynnum. Chadwick runs into Wynn. McCauley trying to gather it. He's swamped. Out to Gillespie. Whistle sounding. Didn't have the ball, says the umpire, and Gillespie to take the kick a little forward of the centre line for East Perth. 27 minutes into the third quarter of the 69 grand final. You're watching it on Channel 7. There's the kick, sailing up to the full forward zone, knocked away by Dempsey, down to McCulloch. He taps the ball into the hands of Farmer. Farmer puts it right up over the centre line, up to Norm Nell. Nell shoots it out to the half-forward flank position to Stephen Smith, and Smith elects to go back and steady things down. Stephen Smith in possession of the ball, a little forward of the centre line, goes for the drop kick now up to the full forward pocket position. Malcolm Brown trying to force the ball out. Comes out with it with pure strength, gets it to his boot. Rintoul going out to meet it. Baker coming across to meet it too for West Perth, and it's out of play once again at left full forward.
Philly's play there on behalf of Nelly. I think he should in the first place kick the ball into the square, and it would have given the East Perth players no opportunity to counter.
On the throw-in, picked up again by Stephen Smith. 28 minutes into the third quarter, right into the teeth of goals.
And pushed through by Bradley Smith for 1 point. Well, West Perth well in command, and certainly some of the West Perth players can thank the East Perth ones for the way they've played the game today. They're yards behind their opponents, and they've presented them with many, many goals. There's the kick from Matson, out towards a half-forward line, pumped away by McCauley. Chadwick. McCulloch down towards the centre. Vic Evans. Evans out towards the flank. Not a good kick. Allows Greg Asprey, and a silly kick there by Evans. And West Perth get out of trouble once again. Combining well this West Perth side. Up towards Keith Miller and Jim Haynes. And the ball's gone out of play.
Well, typical of the East Perth side today has been their short passing, in complete contrast to last week, where they used the ball particularly well and over long distances.
Bradley Smith. Smith kicking towards the centre, and there's another pass gone astray. Graham Farmer, no trouble at all in taking that mark at the 29-minute mark. Graham Farmer steadying things down now. The drop punt well into the forward line. Richards high in the air, from the back. Play on, says umpire Montgomery, but nobody's worried about what happened there. As the ball comes towards Rental. Rental about 20 yards out from goal, twists his way out of trouble. Goes to Matson. There's a player with cramp, a West Perth player down with cramp as the ball goes to Verstegen. Verstegen to centre half forward, Thompson out of position, and Asprey takes the mark.
Yeah, good player Asprey. He's been in front all day, and a dominant factor in the game has been the strength of the West Perth half-back line.
Greg Asprey up towards Stephen Smith, still showing plenty of pace, this fellow. There he goes, over the half-forward line, unattended, allowed to go in and drop-kick the ball. And that's Stephen Smith's fifth goal, and as you saw, allowed to run around unattended to kick.
Bob must have run 50 yards that time. I think Ray Montgomery has more or less conceded the fact that East Perth can't get back into the game and is going to give them all the start he can.
18-19 now, a mammoth score by West Perth, the 4-6 by East Perth. Certainly a very poor performance by this East Perth side. 30-minute mark in the third quarter, back with umpire Montgomery. We welcome viewers at home with the news that West Perth well in command of this game here in the 1969 grand final. 18-19, lead East Perth 4-6. Comments on that quarter, Mal Atwell.
Well, West Perth have continued to dominate in the air around the ground, and particularly on the ball, where we see Graham Farmer is doing such a great job, and Bill Dempsey unbeatable. As you said earlier, Bob, probably one of the best, if not the best player on the ground at this stage.
You're watching football on Channel 7. We're set for the final quarter of the 1969 Grand Final. This telecast on Channel 7 going to Goldsworthy, Albany and Bunbury. Statewide as we get the final quarter underway, and Valley putting West Perth into attack once again. The ball marked by Don Rintle on the half-back line for East Perth. Rintle's kick, putting it up to the centre wing, onto the chest of Vic Evans. Evans goes on, eluding the tackle from Pleitner, but he gets him at the second attempt. Evans back to regather the ball, sends it into the full forward zone. Dempsey again on the spot to take one of his many marks and to have one of his many kicks in the 69 Grand Final. There's the kick from Dempsey back towards the centre wing position. Valley battling for the ball. Picked up now by Hill, and he gets it back towards the wing position, drifting over the boundary line and out of play. Three-quarter time scoreboard, 18-19, 127 West Perth, leading East Perth 4-6-30, a 99-point advantage to West Perth at three-quarter time. Farmer takes the ball at the throw-in, gets it over to Valley. Valley shepherded by Stephen Smith, still battling on, and the ball eventually placed to the line, picked up now by Rintle. Rintle goes for the hand pass to Chadwick. Chadwick gets it over to Ken McCauley, and McCauley puts the ball back to the half-forward line for the East Perth side. Asprey went high, couldn't take the mark. Brown bursting his way through, picked up now by Thompson. Handballs over to Hill. Hill drops it onto the boot, landing in the centre of the oval. Gillespie coming across, and he takes the mark for East Perth.
That was weak play on Thompson's behalf there. Very poor.
Gary Gillespie a little backward of the centre line for the East Perth side. Kick going to the half-forward line. Asprey after the ball for West Perth, playing strongly. Handballs it out. The kick is going the way of East Perth at the centre half-forward position, and Dick McKelchek is the player to take the kick. Darington breaking out from full forward, but it's plucked out of the air by David Dyson. Dyson kicks the ball back to the half-forward line. Miller in front, behind him is Haynes. Crumbs are picked up again by Gary Gillespie. Kicks to the half-forward line, finds Phil Teeney there. Teeney sending the ball back to the full-forward zone. Almost marked by Dragon, bursting his way through now as he regathers the ball and clears it again to the half-back line. Gillespie on the spot once again for East Perth. Gets the hand pass over now to Philip Horn. Horn steadies down and drives the ball with a long torpedo punt kick back into the teeth of goals again. Over the head of Pitter and Dempsey, taken by the reliable Dempsey. Handballs over to McKelchek. McKelchek onto the boot, and through it goes again for another behind. And that's only the second point East Perth have scored since the half-time interval.
One of the few mistakes Bill Dempsey's made today, Bob. You see that when we handball that back over his head, not knowing where his teammate was.
Well, I think West Perth can afford to take risks, Mel. He's played a great game in defence, particularly Bill Dempsey.
David Dyson hasn't had a great deal to do today, down in the full-back position for West Perth. The kick in this time out to McKelchek it goes on the half-forward line for East Perth. McKelchek battling to pick up the ball. It's picked up beautifully by Pleitner. Pleitner sends a long kick back to the half-forward line. Richards soaring into the air, couldn't take the mark. Matson kicking the ball off the ground. The race on towards the boundary line. Wynn and Rintle going after it together. John Wynn comes out beautifully with the ball, has a bounce. The leader's on up in the full forward pocket looking for Miller, and he finds that player with a good pass, and Miller takes the mark right on the boundary line in the left full forward pocket.
Bob Graham down there on the half forward line. We'll come back to him a moment as Miller takes his kick. There's a good close-up there of Keith Miller setting himself for this kick. Good shot there by our cameraman as Miller kicks towards the full forward line, and marked there by Riddle. Don Riddle, kick out towards the half-back flank. Pumped away by Chadwick towards Vic Evans. His kick to the half-forward line. John Hill. John Hill and McCulchick. Over towards Chadwick. Bounce eludes him. And well picked up there by Asprey. A beautiful pickup. West Perth taking risks at the moment, doing nothing wrong, and the ball out of play.
Bob Graham back on his feet, shaking his head. He took a hard one a moment ago, Tom.
He certainly did. Well, East Perth have got both their reserves on. They've got no more players to bring on at the moment. There's a tap down, goes to Pleitner. Mal Brown to Horn. Phil Horn kicking towards the half-forward line. West Perth combining well up there, and John Hill pushes it out of play in that right half. No, a kick in, deliberate, says umpire Montgomery, and the kick awarded to Gary Bygroves. Bygroves, East Perth rover. Haven't seen much of the East Perth rovers at all. Kicks towards the half-forward line. And a scramble going on out there. Umpire Montgomery to bounce it down. Graham Farmer there on the ball, opposed to Philip Horn. No trouble at all for Farmer to bring it out. Certainly had an armchair ride in the ruck all day, West Perth. Over to Bill Dempsey. Dempsey's kick to Stephen Smith, coming right up towards the half-back line, this fellow, to take this kick. He's roamed far and wide all day, kicked 5 goals and been a damaging player. There's his drop kick towards John Wynn, but it's thumped away by McCauley to Vic Evans. Evans off the side of the boot and into the arms of Craig Baker. Baker kicks back towards the flank. 2 East Perth players there, they both miss it, allows John Wynn in. Wynn towards the half-forward line. Off the ground by Matson. Pleitner showed surprising speed on the wing for a big fellow, this player. Still battling his way through. Well played, Brian Pleitner. Gets the ball towards the full forward line. Alan Watling. Bradley Smith getting it back towards the flank, towards Hans Verstegen. Oh, look at this, East Perth doing nothing right at the moment. Picked up by Mel Wynn and one of their better players. Bradley Smith, Bill Matson. Well, mistakes by both sides here, particularly East Perth. Play in the right full forward pocket. In towards full forward. Richards setting himself once again to take the mark. Nearly in the 10-yard square at the 6-minute mark in the final quarter.
Richards must reckon it's his birthday, Bob. Everything has come off for him all day long.
I think many of the West Perth players must have thought it's their birthday. They've had a very easy passage out there, Brian.
Laurie Richards lining up now. He's kicked what, Bob? He's kicked 6. Lining up his 7th. There it is, through the middle it goes. His 7th, West Perth's 19th in the 69 grand final. Comments, Malcolm Athol.
Yes, no doubt about Richard turning an exceptionally good game today. Probably on an inexperienced player down there in young Matson, but this is football. You take advantage of any weakness which there might be, and all due respects to Matson, I feel that Richard has definitely had a little bit more experience, or too much experience for him.
Quietness come over the big crowd, Brian.
Yes, Bob, I think they were stunned early, and the East Perth supporters certainly haven't had too much to cheer about. You played East Perth the wrong week, Mel, I think.
Yes, it's quite obvious. It's a complete contrast to last week. They were certainly playing above themselves last week. Today they've hardly had a touch.
Knock is taken by Nell. Watling puts West Perth into attack once again, up to their half-forward line, and it's marked at centre-half back by Jim Haynes. Haynes turns play out to the far side of the ground. Verstegen leading out there, couldn't take the mark. Watling gathering the comes quickly. Under pressure from Verstegen, but he comes out with the ball once again, has played strongly all day. Gets it down to the half-forward line. Miller almost taking the mark. Farmer going after it, shoots the hand pass over to Baker. Baker steadies down and shoots towards the goals for West Perth, who wait on the goal umpire. Good enough again, he says, and it's a pretty good goal on the board to West Perth.
I think they can shut their eyes and kick the Mel at the moment.
Well, they're playing with that much confidence, Bob. Everything's gone for them. The East Perth team has obviously made so many mistakes. It's silly, really, but this is what happens when the side gets a run on like this, and it pops you out of position, and you lose your confidence. They're not backing up at all and allowing the West Perth players to have plenty of time to steady and kick the easy goals.
7 players are figured in the goal scoring for West Perth, and Richards with 7 and Smith with 5 of the main ones.
Back in the centre with umpire Montgomery. Evans and Brown reaching for the tap out. Winnan, who's been a strong player for West Perth, puts them into attack again, down to the half-forward line. Keith Miller in front, knocked away from behind by Haynes. Watling going after it. Verstegen 2 for East Perth. Verstegen comes out with the ball, gets it to his boot, close to the line over there. Farmer going after it, and it's out of play. Well, the defeat taking on humiliating proportions for East Perth now, Mel.
Yes, this would be one of obviously the biggest success in any grand final for many years, and none of us could have predicted that West Perth could have won by this amount, I'm quite sure.
East Perth going into attack now from the boot of Malcolm Atwell. Once again it comes unstuck. Evans going after the ball. He's brushed aside there. Thompson battling in there for them too. He comes out with the ball and drives it up into the full forward zone. Dempsey down there with Eddie Pitter, knocked away by Pitter. Dempsey sweeping on the crumbs again, and once again as reliable as ever, he turns the ball out to the half-back line, out to Norm Nell. Nell goes to the ground, gets the hand pass over, looking for McAuliffe. McAuliffe taking the ball just inside the line, eventually gets it to his boot and kicks it out to the half-back flank, but the mark is taken by Verstegen. Verstegen turns the ball across to the centre half-forward position. The race on now. Thompson coming up to meet it.
Ian Thompson, centre half-forward. There's the kick in towards full forward, looking for Pitter, but Dempsey's with him in the left full forward pocket, and the ball's out of play.
No doubt about this. Dempsey made a big impression on the game today. One of the best games of his career, I feel.
Yes, read the game well, Mel. He's just positioned himself where that ball's going to be, and he's taken many, many marks. Here's a chance for East Perth. The left foot snap there, and that's their first goal since quarter final. Bygraves, I think, kicked it, Mel, and certainly their first goal for a long, long time.
Certainly is, and I feel that Bygraves kicked a very nice goal there. He's a good player, but we haven't seen very much of him today. I felt that he's one of those players who East Perth rely on for a lot of drive. Played exceptionally well last week when he came back into the game, but has not been seen today.
5 goals to West Perth, 5 goals to East, 5-7 to 2019, a wide margin in favour of the Cardinals, and Bradley Smith taking that kick in the centre of the ground. Well, Smith started off very strongly in the first quarter, but like most of the East Perth players, has certainly been quiet for the rest of the game. There he is, driving towards the half-forward line. Phil Horn. Thompson calling for the ball. West Perth slowed down there with the game well in control, and Ian Thompson takes that mark, left half-forward flank.
This is the same place that Smith kicked a goal earlier in the game from.
Thompson going for the short pass at the moment. Missed there by Bygraves. East Perth fumbling once again, but by the leg, says umpire Montgomery. Pretty lucky one there, I think, for the East Perth player.
That's a ridiculous decision, Bob. Obviously, it was the West Perth who were going to clear the ball, and I think Monty wanted to bring the game back to him.
The umpire's friend Mel Atwell there. Those remarks as Dick McCulloch takes the kick. Now Darington it is, a long torpedo punt kick. It's a good kick from Darington, and it's through for another badly needed goal to the Royals. Well, Darington's kicked a couple of goals since he came on as reserve, Mel, but he's had too many backs against him up there.
Well, the West Perth defence has been on top all day, quite obviously, and Ashbury and Hill and the other young player down there on the half-back line doing an exceptionally good job, but Dyson hasn't been beaten at full-back. He's doing everything right, and I think the player we've overlooked a bit is Dragon. That hasn't put a foot wrong all day.
Played well. There's a scramble in the centre of the ground. West Perth bring it away again. On the half-forward flank there for the West Perth side, Alan Watling, Derek Chadwick, Phil Teeney, Gary Gillespie. He's battled hard all day for East Perth, but all to no avail. Up towards the half-forward line, and Phil Horn takes a mark. One of the few marks that I think Philip Horn has taken all day. The East Perth ruck completely annihilated. East Perth kicking with the advantage of breeze in this quarter, and there it is, swinging out towards the flank. Eddie Pitter underneath it, but it's out of play, right full forward. 12-minute mark, the final quarter at Subiaco Oval.
Norm Nell and Eddie Pitter opposed. Ruckman looking tired now in the final quarter, knocked across the face of the goals. Across goes Dyson. He missed kicks with a kick off the ground, but's got time to get it to his boot. Out towards Craig Baker coming across, taken by Mel Winnan. Winnan bouncing towards the centre line for West Perth, looks for Stephen Smith and shoots the ball in that direction, taken by the half-forward flanker, and Smith marks the ball almost up on the centre wing.
Very sure player, Mel Winnan, today, hasn't he? Hasn't wasted a kick in the centre of the ground.
He's been certainly one of their best, Mel. The kick over to Baker. Baker putting it over the half-forward line. It's knocked away there by Gillespie. Picked up there by Keith Miller. Miller's kick is smothered by Jimmy Haynes. Ball bouncing towards the boundary line on the far side of the ground. Miller first to arrive at it once again. Haynes right behind him. Gets the hand pass over now to Watling. Watling gets it back to the half-forward line. Ken McCauley flying in front. Can't regather the ball. Picked up again by Baker. Baker's kick now towards Richards. Over the top of Matson he goes. Swept away now by Bob Graham. Graham's kick is grubbered out to the half-back line into the hands of Valley. Valley picks it up, steadies down, snaps back towards the goals once again, and Richards gets his hands on the ball, almost brings down another beauty. It's picked up by Matson. He kicks the ground. Kicked off the ground now by Craig Baker, close to the boundary line. Baker going after it. Matson out there with him. The whistle eventually sounding, and the kick is going the way of Craig Baker out on the right half-forward flank position for West Perth.
East Perth trying very hard, Brian, to keep the score down to a reasonable tally, but they're still making mistakes in their full-back line.
Craig Baker to take this kick on the half-forward line to see if he can bring up the 21st goal. He's a long way out, and the ball will land right in the goal square. Richards down there again, into the air he goes. Couldn't take the mark this time, and the ball out of play right next to the point post at right full forward. 2019 to 6-7. Malcolm Brown, Graham Farmer, both number ones. Brown trying to gather the ball again, just inside the line. Gets it to his boot, kicks across the face of the goals, coming out to the grandstand pocket. Evans down there with Pleitner. Once again, East Perth outnumbered. Pleitner picks up the ball, 25 yards out, gets it to his boot, and he's put it through for another behind, and it makes West Perth 20-20.
Another player, Brian, who's been very effective today is Pleitner. I thought that his game on the wing has been exceptionally good, particularly for a big fellow who doesn't appear to have a great deal of pace, but he seems to be matching his direct immediate opponent without much worry.
Yes, I think he's read the play pretty well too, Mel. There's a kick in from Bill Matson up towards Teeney, and Teeney takes a mark. Phil Teeney running on the ball at the moment. Up towards the half-forward line and taken there by Dick McKelty. Towards Chadwick, and Chadwick takes the mark. Chadwick played in 214 games, played in 6 losing grand finals, and this certainly looks like being his 7th. Eddie Pitter, make the mark there, right full forward. Eddie Pitter came on as reserve, replaced David Whittle in the 3rd quarter.
Pleitner coming off the ground, Bob. It looks like they're going to give Nicky Forak a run.
Yeah, John Nicky Forak just going on for a run here as Pitter kicks towards the centre, but taken by Farmer. Out towards Nicky Forak. There he is, just come on the ground. Played quite well through the year, this fellow, and deserves a run in this grand final. John Hill. John Hill up towards a half-forward flank. Chance for Stephen Smith. Look at him, still going in this final quarter. Stephen Smith running in towards goals. He's about 20 yards out now. Gets his foot to the ball. No trouble. Number 6 to Stephen Smith.
A beautiful goal there from Stephen Smith. Completely ran all around the East Perth backman. Young full back there for East Perth. Should have come out to meet him, but inexperienced. He didn't realise that he should go to meet the player with the ball, and dropping back allowed Smith to come out and come in and kick an easy goal.
There's Smith, had a very mediocre season for West Perth, but he's certainly turned it on in this grand final and in quite a few other games during the year. 21-20 to 6-7 in favour of West Perth. Back with umpire Ray Montgomery. Probably had to umpire one of his easiest grand finals that he's ever umpired today. Eddie Pitter gets the tap out towards Vic Evans. Vic Evans up towards a half-forward flank towards Horn. There's 2 East Perth players swelling themselves, and the ball will be bounced there between left half and left full forward. Well, a disappointing end of the season for East Perth, Mel.
A disappointing end of the season, no doubt, for any side who could be beaten by West Perth, or any side so convincingly. Full marks to West Perth, but they've done everything right today. They've used the ball very intelligently and got better results in their East Perth opposition.
You saw that kick from Bygraves from the left full forward pocket and through for 1 point.
Pity for the big crowd, Bob. It looks like a record crowd, and they weren't treated to a very close game of football.
Yes, would be in excess of 45,000 people. There you can see a section of the big crowd here at Subiaco Oval, but the Royal supporters had very little to enthuse over for most of the day. David Dyson. Malcolm Brown can't mark it. It's knocked away by Dempsey to Evans. And umpire Montgomery seen a kick there apparently to Graham Farmer. Or Nicky Forak, is it? And here, one of them going to take the kick there on the half-back line, John Nicky Forak. John Nicky Forak there, waiting to take his kick now. Left half back flank. West Perth slowed the game right down there with it well in control. John Wynn in front, but he can't mark it. Quickly smothered by Farmer. Up towards the speeds to Smith. Oh, Jimmy Haynes coming in there, set him up, but he just missed him. And the ball goes towards a half-forward line. Bob Graham clears at the 18-minute mark.
Graham's kick up to the half-forward line. There's McAuliffe. Graham Farmer coming off the ground, and you can hear the grandstand rising to record him as Graham Farmer comes off to give Brian Sampson a run in the grand final. And Farmer certainly a very happy man at this moment.
See, practically every ambition, I think, in league football.
There's the kick by Winnan, putting the ball out to the half-forward line. West Perth zooming into attack again. Right down to the half-forward flank position. It's taken by Alan Watling. He wants to kick a goal too. Across the face it goes, and the mark is taken by Matson in the back pocket. Matson gets it out to the half-back line. Macaulay coming up to beat it. John Wynn is right behind him. Macaulay handballs out looking for Rintle. Rintle surrounded again by three West Perth players. Sampson racing after the ball. Just came on the ground. Swept away there by Don Wintle, but the ball in the meantime has gone over the boundary line and will be brought back for a throw-in on the left half-forward flank position for West Perth.
Well, unselfish of Graham Farmer to come off, being captain coach of a side, Mel.
I think it's a great tribute to his team that Graham has come off the ground and allowed Brian Sampson to go on. He's played exceptionally well and directed his side as well as any coach could hope to.
On the boundary throw-in, it's picked up now by Gary Bygraves. A high kick landing on the half-forward line. Knocked away again by West Perth, down towards McKelchek. Asprey going after the ball too for the West Perth side. Asprey carrying it over the boundary line. The throw-in now at right half-forward for East Perth.
Well, both these sides out there have won 12 premierships, and West Perth going on to record their 13th.
Boundary throw-in again. Brown in front, gets the ball down, taken away by Dick McKelchek. McKelchek drubbers the ball up to full forward, bounces over the head of David Dyson. Opportunity for Darington, 10 yards out, gets his boot to the ball and it dribbles over the points line and then through again for another behind.
You can't take a trick there, Bob. Everything seems to be coming unstuck for East Perth today, and it's another occasion where it looked like it should have been an easy goal, forced through for a point.
David Dyson bringing the ball into play again. Malcolm Brown in the front berth takes the mark, goes for the hand pass on quickly to Bygraves. Bygraves steadies down and fires towards the goals. It's a cross into the pocket position. In goes Darington this time, gets his boot to the ball and puts it through for 4 points. And that's the 7th major on the board to East Perth.
And Grant Darington with 3 goals is the major goal scorer for the Royals.
East Perth score has been treble looking at it, 7-9, 21-20. It's about treble the East Perth score.
It has, well, yeah, 7-9, 21-20, no doubt about that. The 7-9 on the board to East Perth after having only 4-5 at quarter time. Here's Bygraves trying to put his side into attack. Nicky Forak brings it away though for West Perth. Gets the hand pass in looking for Winner, and it's taken by Gillespie. Gillespie sending it down towards the half-forward line. Across comes Hill. He can't take the mark. Picked up now by David Dyson. Dyson's claimed. He goes to the deck. Thompson trying to gather it. He's forced a handball away too. Bill Dempsey bursting his way through, and reliably again he clears the ball out to the far side of the ground. Gillespie flying out there, and he comes down with the ball. Gillespie to take the kick at left half forward for East Perth.
Gillespie being one of the East Perth players who've certainly tried all day for this side, but overwhelmed by weight of numbers. There's his high kick towards full forward. Brown, chance for Brown in the left full forward pocket, in towards full back. And unfortunately for East Perth, once again, the West Perth defenders too strong.
Brown has certainly tried very hard this half for them, Bob. I thought he tried in the third quarter in particular to get them back into the game, but nobody responded with him and left to fight it out on his own.
John Hill taking that kick now from the goal square, out towards the centre, and Mel Winnan. Been an excellent player for West Perth all day this fellow. Gets it over to Brian Sampson, came on as reserve, and they're having his first kick to the cheers of the West Perth supporters. Down towards John Wynn. There's Richards all on his own there as Wynn gets his kick, goes to the ground and puts it out of play. Richards was calling for the ball there all on his own, but Wynn elected to have a shot, and the ball's got out of bounds. Well, the 1969 season drawing to a close here in this grand final, and time running out for East Perth. West Perth well in control. Craig Baker about 15 yards out onto the boot. Missed this time, only the minor score. (21-21), a mammoth score now by the West Perth side to 7-9 by the Royals. And Bill Matson Playing in his first year of league football, only played 10 games, this fellow. 20 years old and certainly had a hard job today on playing on Laurie Richards, one of West Perth's good players. Up towards Macaulay and he takes the mark. Ken Macaulay out towards right centre wing. Don Riddle. Chadwick and Winnan. Chadwick in the back and Chadwick to take the kick. Derek Chadwick had a very quiet day today. Mel Winnan been in control all day in the centre as Chadwick kicks the ball towards a half-forward line. And a good mark to Norm Mel. He's been a good player for West Perth all the year, this fellow. Quite unobtrusive, Mel, but he's always there.
Very solid player. Does a lot of work for his fellow ruckman and has been one of their best six today without doubt.
Mel Winnan once again still finishing on in his last quarter, using his pace, kicks it over to Nicky Forak and he takes the mark. John Nicky Forak, left centre wing. Towards the half-forward line, Bradley Smith in front and he takes the mark. Well, play slowed right down here in this final quarter. West Perth well in control. It's Bradley Smith with a good drop kick towards the half-forward line. And a good mark there to Ian Thompson. Poor old kick towards the full-forward line. John Hill. Greg Asprey. Back to Thompson, to Phil Teeney. Still trying to weave his way through that pack. Gives it to Phil Horn about 40 yards out from goal. For Bygraves, East Perth still fiddling around with hand passing. Bygraves onto the boot. Bill Dempsey can't stop this one. And it goes through for a badly needed goal. The 8th one to East Perth.
A big effort there by the West Perth defenders to stop that goal, but it just bounced the wrong way as Bill was about to pick it up and through for a full pointer to East Perth.
Well, can East Perth reach double figures? 8-9 at the moment. 21-21 to West Perth and back with umpire Ray Montgomery. Several players could be possibly playing their last game of league football, possibly Bob Graham out there, Mel, do you think?
Yes, Dobby must be getting very close to the end of his career as a league footballer. I know he's got a lot of business commitments now, and whether he'd have the time to put in the football next year would be doubtful.
There's play going on there over on the far side of the ground. Gillespie to Thompson. East Perth going to attack. Still kicking with a light breeze. Onto the half-forward line at the 25-minute mark.
Philip Horn gets the hand pass over now to Gary Bygraves. Bygraves firing towards the goals. He's put it through the middle again, and there's 2 quick goals on the board to East Perth to bring up their 9th.
Well, 3 goals to Bygraves and 3 to Don. The East Perth Rovers have certainly had a hard battle, Mel.
Oh yes, I don't think there's, as I said earlier on a couple of occasions, there hasn't been an East Perth Rover all day. Bygraves flashed in for a couple of goals now and then, but they've only been easy goals created by his teammates. He hasn't done a great deal of work. I thought that Valley, probably the only Rover on the ground. The weakest of all would be Baker.
There's East Perth into attack again from the boot of Verstegen, but the mark is taken safely once again by David Dyson. An East Perth player down with cramp on the far side of the ground as Dyson will take this kick.
He's been a great full-back all the year, Brian.
I think David Dyson's game certainly improved. He's a more determined player now. He was inclined to be a bit casual earlier, but...
There's a nice knock over the head to Nicky Forak. Gives the ball to Craig Baker. Baker kicking up the full forward. Matson in front, couldn't take the mark. Out towards Rintle. Rintle battling there to try to get hold of the ball. Ken Macaulay goes in to pick it up. A high kick landing up towards the centre wing position. Nicky Forak on the spot, and Nicky Forak taking the mark. 26 minutes into the final quarter of the 69 grand final. You're watching it on Channel 7 and the telecast to Goldsworthy, Albany and Bunbury. There's the kick into the centre of the oval, looking for Craig Baker. The mark almost taken by Teeney. Gathers the crumbs, goes for the hand pass out towards Verstegen. Verstegen goes around Nicky Forak. There's his drop kick up to the half-forward line. Malcolm Brown up there, but over the top of them again, Norm Nell, who's marked well today, plucks another mark out of the air.
Beautiful mark there, Brian. Took it as if no effort at all.
Nell puts the ball back towards the centre wing position. The mark dropped by Eddie Pitter, picked up by Derek Chadwick. Chadwick sending it again, back to that half-forward line. Nell with his eyes on the ball again. Can't take this one. It's taken by Brown. The hand pass on quickly to McKelchek. He kicks into a West Perth player, but regathers the ball again from the full-forward pocket. He drives towards the goals, and he's put it through for 1 flag only and another behind on the board to East Perth. Big shadow across the ground now up at the Subiaco end. The shadow from the new grandstand. 27 minutes into the final quarter of the 69 grand final as David Dyson brings the ball into play once again. Dyson's kick not a good one this time out to the half back line. It's taken by Phil Teeney, and Teeney has been awarded the kick by umpire Montgomery at the centre half forward position.
Very tame ending, Brian, to this grand final. I don't think anybody would have come here today expecting it would have been anything like this. But as I said earlier, full marks to West Perth. They've done everything right. They've used the ball intelligently. They've backed up, and their teamwork has been second to none. And
yes, a disappointing end to a great season, Mel, of football.
Yes, I think the record crowd we must have near here today is must be disappointed in the efforts of the game that's been played.
Not the West Perth supporters.
Not West Perth supporters by any means, but I'd say that the exhibition put on by East Perth, complete contrast to last week where they played so well.
Not many people leaving the ground either, and I think most of them will wait to see the presentation of the trophy. 28 minutes in now to the final quarter of the 69 grand final. Bob Miller.
Phil Horn taking that up towards Gary Gillespie. Gillespie kicks in towards full forward, and the ball's gone out of play there, left full forward. Malcolm Brown still in there, the 1969 Sandover medalist, with Brian Sampson. Out towards Baker. Under the boot by East Perth once again by Bygraves, and through for 1 foot. Been many good players, mainly on the West Perth side. Dempsey, Farmer, Nell control the ruck to perfection. Winnan in the centre, been a good player all day. Wynn at centre half forward. Stephen Smith, Alan Watling. You can mention just about the whole of the West Perth lineup, whereas East Perth have had 3 or 4 battlers all day holding them in the game. David Dyson at the 29-minute mark, kicking towards the grandstand side. Brian Sampson, but he can't mark it. Chance for Nicky Forak. There's the pass into the centre, and well taken there by Stephen Smith. Up from the half-forward line, taking this mark in the centre of the ground.
Well, a match-winning performance today from Stephen Smith.
He's certainly run around all day, and there's Ken McCauley. He's had a good season for East Perth, but been overshadowed today. Out towards the flank. Verstegen. Jim Haynes. Jim Haynes to the half-forward line. Thompson having a look around to see who is coming through, and finally Dragon comes out with it. He's been a good back pocket player. Malcolm Brown battling his way through the pack. Ton of courage there by this player. Up towards full forward. A chance for East Perth, but once again David Dyson, rock-like in defence, bringing the ball away. Well, East Perth are well behind, but they're certainly not giving in as Bygraves kicks once again towards full forward. And the ball forced once through, once again for the minor score. The 30-minute mark in the final quarter. The game just about over here, certainly over for East Perth, and the West Perth fans highly elated at the brilliant performance by the Cardinals today.
Both sides looking very tired now, Bob, and I'm sure they'd all like to see that grand final siren go.
Particularly the East Perth players. I think, Mel, it's been certainly a humiliating performance in the grand final. And coach Jack Sheedy certainly must be disappointed. Scramble there as Verstegen trying to bring the ball away. Hand pass, short pass goes astray once again. Picked up by Philip Horn to Thompson. Onto his correct foot here. Thompson swinging in towards full forward. Can East Perth score another goal? No, 1 point only. They can't get that 10th goal on the board. 9 goals, 14. East Perth, 21-21 West Perth. And the West Perth celebrations will certainly take place tonight after an absence of 9 years from the premiership list. 31 minutes into the final quarter of the 1969 grand final.
Ball out on the half-back flank position, signal out of play over there.
One of the few times, Brian, I've seen Philip Horton at full pace today, I think.
Philip Horton to take the kick out on the left half-forward flank. There's the kick. Darington it is, leading out from the full forward position, and he's taken the mark. Darington going back to see if he can kick West Perth in the double figures in this grand final. East Perth, I should say. West Perth in double figures long ago. There's the ball on its way. He's put it through all right. That's the 10th goal on the board. We greet viewers at home right now with the news that West Perth has won the 1969 grand final, 21-21, defeating East Perth 10 goals, 14.
In particular for West Perth, they must be very proud of the supporters must be very proud of their effort today. They've dominated all around the ground, and it was very hard for me, looking back over the 4 quarters of football, to find one East Perth player who won convincingly in any position. I would say that they dominated in the ruck, the West Perth side. Full marks to Graham Farmer. He played exceptionally well here, led his side, the architect of the game, no doubt. Did everything correct, and it's very, very pleasing to see a player of his calibre do so well in the grand final and to take out the pennant.